fault.
All right, happy Whiskey Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to episode 95.
Woo!
It's the night before Thanksgiving, and that is Jake Sanders. Welcome him back. Jake, let everyone know what you're doing. I guess I can start the audio part of it when I do that part. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
But
do you
tell
want to
everyone
wait?
where you've been. No, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm going to share it.
Cool.
Go old school.
Well,
Already.
my mic good, Nate?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Okay. So it's good to be back, everyone. It's happy, and it's on Whiskey Wednesday, so it's kind of like all things are right with the world, which is awesome. So, I accepted a job with Burn by Rocky Patel with the Indianapolis location. There's 5 of them now. This will be the 5th location. It's right downtown Indianapolis, and I'll be the humidor manager there. So I've been kind of busy. They sent me down to Atlanta. Got to kind of experience the whole, a true burn, fully staffed and everything, and not in construction. So it's definitely been a crazy experience thus far, and we can't wait to get started. The cool thing is that we're a week away from opening, so we're starting our VIP nights on December 4th and December 5th, and then basically our grand opening to the general public on the 6th of December. So there's still a lot to be done, but things are finally starting to look amazing, and things are starting to come together, and it's kind of unbelievable to see it, after being there for 13 hours a day at a time. So it's good. So but Steve, asked me if I could be here, and it's, so I just drove 3 hours to be here. I left Indy probably around 3:30. Well, I was trying to get out of there at 3:30, but got out around 4. So, but it was all good. So I'm happy to be here.
Good. Nate? Almost done.
Yeah, I did my shares while Jake was. You got more groups to share to than I do. So, you know how my week's been. My week's been in the shitter, dealing with car issues all week long.
Cobalt.
No, not the Cobalt. The Cruise that I bought earlier this year. Yeah. I had to get a thermostat, valve cover, and throttle body.
Jeez.
Yeah, that ran about $500 total, parts and labor.
Seriously.
Yeah, Dennis does good work.
Well, good.
And your mic went out already.
Nice. All right. Let me know when you're ready to go on the audio there.
I got to remember to mute the mic before I do that.
Yeah.
So that way it doesn't blow out everyone else's speakers.
See if I can get
Cool.
Comments here.
And Bobby Crow's already wishing us happy Thanksgiving because he's in Japan.
Nice. I saw that.
So he's,
There we go.
half a day ahead of us. So, and it's his birthday. Happy birthday, Bobby.
Happy birthday.
And it's morning there.
Yes,
All right.
it is.
What's everyone drinking and smoking? Please share it if you would like, because this is a night that hopefully, if you guys don't have family over yet, that we can have some people sitting down, relaxing before the holiday. But share it, review it, like it, all that good stuff. Check out our community page, Bourbon MBS Podcast community page. It's getting a lot of traction, over 400 members so far, so we appreciate that part of it as well. Stephen Cook, happy Thanksgiving. Doug Ruffles, it's good to see you, Jake.
This might be the last night that people have to actually relax until probably next week. Because you got the holiday, then Black Friday, and then Saturday, all that stuff going on.
Right. All right,
So.
Let's start the audio. Let's get going here.
Cool.
I didn't even save the file yet.
Uh-oh.
Come
so tonight
on.
we're drinking, we didn't say that. We're drinking, did we? No. Wild Turkey Rare Breed. That's our turkey for Thanksgiving. And then we are, depending on what you think about Thanksgiving, fitting or it's ironic that we're smoking the New World, which is something that signifies Christopher Columbus discovering the New World.
Maybe I'm just tired, but when Nate told me that, I would have never have got that.
That's all right, buddy. It's just like going over.
I would have never put
It's
two
just
and
like
two
going
together.
over to your parents' house. It's just like, you show up and eat. You show up and you drink and smoke.
Well, yeah, I mean that's why I asked. That's why I asked.
No,
Do
I
you
know
want an
you-
intro? I know you've been doing a great job. So.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So appreciate having you here. Yeah, go ahead.
One question:
Yes.
at your Thanksgiving, do you just have turkey?
As
a meat?
As far as meat, yeah, typically we have turkey.
Do you have just turkey or
Yeah.
turkey and ham?
No, ham's more of a Christmas thing
Yeah.
for us.
See, we do both.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's awesome.
All right, you ready to roll here? Thank you guys for tuning in also, by the way. That's amazing.
Yes. Dad?
Happy Whiskey Wednesday, everyone. Tonight on the Bourbon and BS podcast, we have episode 95, Don't Sleep on Thanksgiving. So we'll get into what that means later. We've got our turkey dinner here for Thanksgiving. We have wild turkey, and there's Jake Sanders.
I got the clink.
All right. I do want to say the first part of this podcast, we're starting to split it up into two parts. So we did introduce our guest here, Jake Sanders, co-host / guest. We'll see what the future brings with all that stuff. As a guest.
It's to be entered as a guest, it's kind of weird, but
yeah.
it feels nice.
Well, the way this is going to work, since you've been gone, last week was the first time we did this. The first part, we're going to do part 1, part 2. Part 1 is going to be mostly the whiskey and the cigars, a little bit of intro stuff there, and then we'll take a break, and that'll be part 1 of the audio. And then when we come back, it's going to be part 2, and that's going to be more of the life topic and everything else, continuing talking about the cigars and whiskey. I want to thank our sponsors, Tinderbox at Easton, for providing the New World by AJ Fernandez. We appreciate that. Tinderbox at Easton in Columbus, Ohio. And then also Altadis USA. We've got some Montecristo White Series floating around for the second cigar. And then the continued support from them. We appreciate that. And then also BS Cigar Company. We've got the silver available now for BS Cigar Company, and also the gold coming in the new year. So if you guys are interested in trying the BS silver, or when the gold comes back out, contact either the podcast page. We'll point you in the right direction, or our other sponsor, Tinderbox at Easton. So without further ado, do you want to do that clink again? You liked it?
I liked it.
You were happy with it?
Yeah.
Normally you weren't happy with it.
I mean, it caught people off guard.
It's amazing how things have changed.
Yeah.
In such a short period of time.
Yeah, I feel honestly like a new person. It's weird.
That's awesome.
Sudden and abrupt change like we talked about a few weeks ago.
Yeah. So for the audio, I know the people that were on a Facebook Live earlier, just give a summary, Jake. Where have you been? What's going on? We talked about it briefly on the podcast before, but where are you at?
So we're moving to Indianapolis. I took a position as humidor manager with Bourbon by Rocky Patel. Obviously, this is going to be the Indianapolis location. This is their 5th location that they're opening up. There's one in Naples, Pittsburgh, Atlanta, Oklahoma City, and now Indianapolis. And it'll be the biggest out of the 5. We have probably just by a little bit the biggest humidor, so we're trying out of the 5, so we're trying to make this kind of the flagship. It's been a long time. You know, the company's spent a lot of money. There's been a lot of anticipation throughout the city of this finally coming over the past 2 or 3 years, and it's pretty amazing with my opportunity, and I'm very, very blessed that they picked me to be the humidor manager, and I'm excited about our team. We're pretty much fully staffed, which is great. Nice. And it's just really unreal. It's surreal, to be honest.
It's fantastic. I've seen the pictures so far that you've sent, and I mean the way that it looks. I mean it's just a very, very classy place, but also looks homey. Like I mean, it doesn't look like you can't just come in and have a good time. It's not like you're wearing like a tuxedo. I know you guys have a dress code, but overall, the place just looks really, really inviting.
Yeah,
and with a high class to it.
Yeah, and I think with the staff that'll be even more so. I think that Sean, my GM, along with Brandon, he's kind of, I don't want to say assistant manager because he's not really a manager, or he's not an assistant manager, but him and I kind of have the same rank, if you will, but he helps out a ton, more administration wise. And then there's me kind of manning the humidor, and it's along with a couple, probably 4 or 5 humidor attendants, and the team's coming together. I mean, it's just.
And in such a short period of time.
Yeah. And what I like, too, is I think Sean, the GM, I think our philosophies link up, which I've never experienced that before. And I think to have a little bit of to have the opportunity to have authority for the first time.
Yeah.
I think for me that was the biggest thing, meeting Sean, and now the fact that our thoughts and ideas kind of coincide within each other.
Yeah.
I think that's just like a recipe for success.
Well, I like the way you guys are starting it at kind of like the ground level, even though the design's been done before.
Yeah.
But the fact that this is a huge transition from, now granted you were doing the podcast obviously for 1.5 to 2 years, almost 2 years, and then also being at the Tinderbox.
Yeah.
You were in the industry with like a foot in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was like you had your 1 foot in, and then all of a sudden the opportunity came up, and through everything, now you're at this ground level where you and is it Sean?
Sean, yes.
Yeah, you and Sean are going to be basically creating something been done before, but not like this.
Yeah, so to get a little bit of perspective, every burn is different design-wise.
Right.
Obviously they have a humidor and a big bar, but we have 2 big bars. It's a 2-level, almost 7,000 square foot building that used to be an old Nordstrom rack, basically. So, and what's pretty crazy is that the engineering behind it is just amazing. There's these 2 pillars that are actually sideways, and the upstairs is actually floating. There's no...
Yeah, the pictures, like I said, look fantastic.
Where at in Indy is it?
So it's on the corner of Meridian and Maryland Street. It's right across from Hampton Inn, a few blocks north of the Lucas Oil Stadium.
Nice. It's a good area.
Right next to the big Central Mall there, the indoor mall there. And it's a few blocks south of Nicky Blaine's and the circle with the obelisk and the monument and stuff. So it's prime time downtown.
Yeah, I've been in that area.
Yeah, and I'm really impressed with the city. It's my first big move too. So, college was only 45 minutes away. This is 3 hours. So
yeah, and it's close enough. Yeah.
I'm glad it's not.
Your mic just cut.
It's an easy drive.
Yeah. I'm glad it's not like 11 hours away or something like that in upstate New York.
Well, and you were looking at that at one point.
I was. But I think, not to get too much into or the philosophy of it, but I think that, if you want to go do something, which I don't know, I talked for a really long time of trying to get into this industry.
I was going to get to that.
And I think pursuing it and not having a ceiling really with yourself, and understanding what you have to do to get to where you really want to be. I just think that you can't really have a ceiling for yourself when you're wanting to get into a niche industry.
No, I mean you have to sometimes work. I mean you kind of worked your way through it informally. Like doing the podcast, creating this, and then also, working again on your cigar knowledge and your obviously everything else with working part-time while doing other jobs, working in the cigar industry. So it's just kind of, and then also the networking part of it was a huge part of it for you.
Yeah. I mean, if I would have never met Rob Wilson, our Rocky Patel rep in Ohio and also in Indianapolis,
right?
If we would have never done the podcast, I would have never got to know him better, I don't think, because he comes over here.
Right.
And, it just kind of, the networking, you're right.
And then you and he were both at my birthday party.
Right. Yeah.
So it's a tight-knit community, but I think it looks like you got a good cigar culture out there.
It's really untapped, man, I think.
Yeah. I think it's tapped. I don't think it's been tapped hard.
That's what she
just
said.
like in college.
Got it.
Yeah.
But
I used to be a rep.
Tap it hard.
No, I was saying I used to be.
What?
Go on.
Go ahead.
No, go on.
No, I used to be a rep, and Indianapolis was one of the cities in my territory, and the shops that are there, they're quite spread out. There's only a couple of them there in downtown Indy previously that were close to each other.
Yeah.
And then you got one, a couple on the north side because they have an outer belt kind of like Columbus does. So you got
Yeah, it's actually fairly similar. I feel like in structure.
Yeah. But yeah, where you're at, that's a great location, especially anytime something's going on.
But it's crazy because, like, if you look at Columbus with how many shops Columbus has, and then other cities, like when I went down to Atlanta, I didn't realize how many cigar lounges and shops were. Yeah, they're everywhere.
Well, Atlanta also sprawls out for like 3 Columbus or 3 Indianapolis.
Well, one of the bad things about Atlanta, though, when it comes to cigar shops, is I remember one of the reps for the company I worked for, when he had Atlanta, he goes, "Yeah, I got 6 shops that are all within 5 miles of each other, but it takes me an hour to get to each one."
Yeah,
yeah, the traffic's really bad.
It's like
down
Chicago.
there.
Yeah, it's just sprawling. Mm-hmm. So tonight, like I said, first of all, welcome back, Jake. Again,
thank you.
It's
Thanks
amazing
for
to have
having
you
me
back. We had talked about this when you took the job, is that we wanted to have you be a part of the podcast when you could, and in some fashion. Eric says, "Hey guys, just walked in a Tapped Hard classic." Thank you. You're welcome. But having you back in when you can, we'll try to get you, back a part of it as much as possible. That's the goal. But as you've already kind of found out, that with this new venture, you are busier than you probably thought.
Well, and I'm not saying that it'll die down, but I know that it's not going to be like it is now.
Yeah, you're not going to have the grand opening like every quarter.
Right.
I mean, this is a big preparation job, and you'll figure it out.
Yeah, and with anything, this is the second time I've kind of been with. I don't want to call Burn by Rocky Patel a startup, but they're starting something.
Yeah,
and this is the second time that I've been with a company that's starting something new.
Right.
So through each, I was thinking about on the long drive over here, I was thinking about that and how, like, with my old job and Max Effort and Corey Gregory and such, when we were starting Max Effort, it was a lot like this, where the preparations there, like the energy's high, but you have a deadline and it seems like it's closing in too fast.
Yeah, you think you have all the time in the world.
But then the final day is everything comes together.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like amazing when...
The big difference, though, with this is that you're opening physical doors.
True.
So
a little different than online.
All this work you have yet to greet an actual customer.
Well,
that's the big difference that I think you're going to really excel at, obviously based on your customer service experience. But I'd say that'd be the big difference between like your previous experience, that you're going to go, we're now live online. You know what I mean?
It's a little different.
It's like, cool, let's watch the computers and the emails and all this stuff. No, this is like, all right, there's going to be a ceremony like after the it's like, unlock the door.
Yeah.
Where is everybody?
Right.
Or, oh shit, here comes everybody.
Yeah.
Well, the one good thing, though, is, there's 4 other Burn lounges that have been open before.
Yeah, you're not recreating the wheel.
They at least have a blueprint. They at least know what they want to do and what their mission for this area is. And it's not something that they threw up overnight. Like, they've been planning this for a long time. So
no, but I will. I don't want to interrupt, but one thing I will say is that our director of ops, his name's Steve, and he's amazing, unbelievably amazing, and the things that he is implementing are new. So
that's good.
I'm not saying anything bad, but about the past. And I will say that he's doing an amazing job, and he's changing things.
Probably, like growing on the past experiences, possibly.
And his experience in the hospitality world is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I can't really speak.
Well, I
can't stop talking about it.
we'll probably continue to talk about it a bit, but
this turkey's good.
Yeah, well, no, I was going to say Burn by Rocky Patel, Indianapolis location. Grand opening, soft opening is the 4th and 5th. It's invite only. And then on the 6th of December, doors open, correct?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I was reading Doug's comment on there.
It's all about your coat. Does Jake's coat adhere to the dress code? It does have a collar.
It does. It does adhere.
It's got a gigantic collar. Half that coat is a collar, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's nice and warm.
I didn't say it wasn't. I do want to say also, for those that are listening to audio, we talk about sharing to different groups, to different pages, to different people, just friends and family and everything else, if you guys think that someone would enjoy the podcast. I didn't have just the T-shirt on, but Bobby is hopefully still watching if he didn't tune out already and was disappointed that I wasn't wearing the gift. But I do share every week to Bobby's page, Stogies on Ice. And so it's a great page. Actually, it's about a lot of the same stuff, cigars, whiskey, and just that community. So I do have...
Yeah, I was about to say, what gift?
Stogies on Ice T-shirt. So great page. I follow it. I see a lot of the posts from them, and I do want to say thank you, Bobby, if you're still tuning in and watching live. But I appreciate the gift of the Stogies on Ice T-shirt. He's like, I said, I saw you had T-shirts. He's like, yeah, man, I got one for you. I said, well, what? Well, all right, what size do you wear? I was like, I don't know, large, extra large. And then, sure enough, he's like, I'll bring it in Tuesday. And I said, what do I owe you? He's like, wear it on the podcast. I was like, all right, deal. I
was trying to figure out the logo, and I'm not saying it's a bad logo, but so it's a circle and then a cigar and then obviously like a smoke asterisk thing. But from my angle, tell me it looks like it looks like a person winking.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
that's
like a
smile.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's part of the design.
Okay, well, good for them. It's awesome.
But yeah, so Stogies on Ice.
Whatever works.
Going into this, thank you, Bobby, and Stogies on Ice. Going into this, the Wild Turkey Rare Breed. I wanted to actually do this, I think, last year, and I forget what it was.
We did turkey last year.
No, it was something else.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure. Because I think Dustin brought something.
I thought we did 101.
We might have had something. But we want to do this Wild Turkey Rare Breed Barrel Proof, which is 116.8 proof. Yep. Jake, what do you know about this whiskey?
So there's been 3 expressions of the rare breed. One thing that's cool about Wild Turkey and what Jimmy and Eddie Russell have done with the brand over the decades is that they only use with their bourbon one mash bill.
Okay.
Which I find unbelievable. And so they have all these different, like we've discussed it before, where you have Kentucky Spirit, Russell's Reserve, Single Barrel, the 10-year. We've had the 10-year on here. Every bourbon is the same mash bill. They're just different proofs and difference in where they're aged.
Yeah.
So there's been 3 expressions. What's funny is that each time they have an expression, they go up in proof.
Yeah, when I was looking online, I want to say the one I saw was like 112 initially.
Yes. And there was a 108, I believe, as well.
108 might have been.
But that was a long time ago.
Okay.
So
the mash bill that I have here is 75% corn.
Yeah.
13% rye and 12% malted barley, and it's a 6, 8, and 12-year
blend. Yeah.
So there's definitely some age on this.
Yeah.
I think this is great for this type of a night, by the way.
It's hard to beat, man. And it's less than, what is it? 30? Is it 37?
No, now
$43.99.
Yes, state of Ohio, it's $43.99 on the shelf.
So they raised it a little bit.
They raised it a little bit. When I looked it up online, and I don't know, everyone out there, you might don't take that as what you're going to find it at your store. I know we had someone in earlier from New York that was tuning in.
Yeah, from Long Island. I can imagine the expensive on Long
Billy,
Island.
if you're still there. I don't know what it is in New York, but when I saw it online, just the first couple hits were like $59.99. So it's going to be a wide variety, possibly nationwide. But in Ohio, it's $43.99. So actually, I would say that's becoming the new average.
Yeah,
for a bottle of bourbon.
Stuff's going up, man. State of Ohio's changed a lot of things.
Yeah, when I picked this up, I also picked up the Wilderness Trail bottled in bond. That was $47.99.
Yeah. Was it the black label or yellow?
Yellow.
Okay.
The bottle in bond. I got it back there next to Content Kyle.
That stuff's fantastic, man.
I've never had it, but it was on the shelf, and I was like, well, I'm buying a bottle anyway. Might as well grab that.
But again, it's a new one, and it's coming in at almost $50.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I think that's a new standard for like some of the unknowns or the people that, you just see it pop up on a shelf.
But this is the first new one that I've had in forever that was worth that.
So that was it's kind of my point is that, you never know. I'm really leery of picking up a bottle.
Like New Riff. Isn't that about where it started when it...
Yeah, and then we had Christina on the podcast before, and, we were talking about the OIO changing over to Middle West, and those are in the $40 to $50 range.
Yeah.
So, and again, some of the smaller operations, I get it. I mean, it's going to be more expensive typically when you don't have the backing, if you will, of a major company like Wild Turkey.
Well, cool fact about this bottle, though, I don't know if you recognize it at all, but so what they did is they've actually switched over the Kentucky Spirit bottles to this exact same bottle. So remember the Kentucky Spirit looked like turkey feathers?
Yeah.
It was a very nice bottle. But now they've changed over to this. I'm guessing this is a lot cheaper because the intricacy of the old one where it kind of has the feather indents and stuff.
Yeah.
This is, but I just find that interesting.
I think it's a good-looking bottle. It's classic.
Yeah.
What do you think of the go ahead, Nate.
No, go ahead. I was saying earlier when we were pouring, like I really like the spout. Because it kind of cuts inward a little bit.
Yeah.
So it pours really well because there are some bottles that have a big fat lip around it.
Right, and it just hangs.
Yeah, it just hangs on there. With this being,
You're saying it's like an easy pour.
Oh yeah.
Well, and they also have. I always call this like a spillway almost, or like a spillway.
No, I get what you mean. So that way, if it like drips down the bottom of the bottle,
it'll normally stop right there on the top quarter of the lid. There,
give you a spot to then just lick the neck of the bottle.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, it's always good.
What are you guys getting from it? Wild Turkey Rare Breed, barrel proof.
I always get a massive cinnamon note
because this is one of those, Jake, that you always say like. You drink anything from Wild Turkey, and you can tell it's Wild Turkey. Even if we took the label off, you would know by drinking it it's Wild Turkey.
Yeah, and it's because of that cinnamon note. It's heavy on cinnamon, heavy on vanilla, heavy on oak.
It really is.
And those three, it's heavy on cinnamon, heavy on oak, heavy on vanilla, and it's just wonderful. It's a classic bourbon whiskey, and I mean, other than that, it's hard to pick out
warm.
Other things. Yeah,
it is warm. That's what I like about it. That's why I say it's like good on a night like tonight. I think it's good for the holidays. I think this is a little hot for some of your relatives, maybe that they don't necessarily drink a whole lot of whiskey.
This would screw someone up if they don't drink whiskey.
Well, if they drank, because I mean, again, if that proof, yeah. But I'm saying as far as flavor, they're going to say it's a little hot, and I'd say probably most of your relatives that are like, yeah, I'll have a glass. What do you have? And you say, well, I brought Rare Breed, and they're like, what's that? And you say Wild Turkey. I've heard of Wild Turkey. I mean, I know how this conversation goes,
right?
And then they're going to want to put like an ice cube or two in it, or have it on the rocks.
No,
and I'll tell you,
this would be perfect with an ice cube.
I was going to say, I think. Whether you believe in that or not, but I think that this is something that if they do put an ice cube or two in there, it really would be nice. They'd still think it's powerful. They'd still think it's a little hot. It's a little like harsh or strong. But if you put a little bit of water like you're putting in there, Jake, or if you put an ice cube in there, Uncle whoever, you know what I mean? I think you're going to be happy with it. What do you think, Nate?
Well, this is the first time I've ever had Rare Breed.
That's right. You said that.
In fact, I even told you earlier, when I picked this up at the store, this is the first bottle that actually had a Wild Turkey label on it that I've ever bought.
Name.
The actual name, because like I got this bottle here of the Russell's Reserve pick, and Russell's Reserve comes out of Wild Turkey, but this Rare Breed was the first bottle I ever bought that specifically has Wild Turkey on the label,
on the actual name.
Yeah. And I really enjoy it. I get a nice smooth sweetness at the front of it. And then in the back, it's kind of like when it first hits my palate, I taste that older, more mature whiskey. And then as it goes back is when I taste a little bit of the younger.
Yeah.
I just add a little bit of water to it, and honestly, I think it caramelized.
I get a little bit of caramel.
Yeah.
That little bit of like vanilla.
Yeah.
And then caramel in there.
We'll put a little bit of water in it.
Cinnamon and stuff.
That's what I'm about to do.
Yeah.
Put a little bit in there.
I mean, honestly, I haven't done a weird note in a while, and I'd say like
get after it.
Pecan, like a pecan pie.
I can't speak to that though.
Like a pecan pie.
Because you're allergic to nuts.
I'm allergic to nuts. I can't speak to that.
It's just that rich caramel. Well, you don't know what nutty is. So.
Well, no, I don't.
Here, Steve, we need to feed you some nuts. That way you
that.
can at least have a taste reference. We'll get an EpiPen ready for you.
Yeah, nope, not doing it. I do get that cinnamon. I think it also goes with the heat of the proof. But I tell you what, though, when I added a little bit of water to it, I actually get a little bit more cinnamon.
Yeah. Yeah.
It actually like livens that up a little bit more.
Well, I get that off the nose. It almost made the nose a little spicier, which is weird.
No, I believe that.
Yeah, so I love this stuff. If I normally always have one of these lying around somewhere.
One bottle?
Yeah.
Nice.
Because it's definitely a shelfer for sure.
No, it's funny. You got Steve nailed it when he said adding the water actually got more of that spice, more of that cinnamon on it.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I do the same thing. Like, God damn it. Yeah, it does. Well, it's just one of those things like you don't want it to be one of those things that you hear it and you start thinking that. Like you get locked in.
I think it goes with a lot of these things.
It does, but like you said it and just, yeah. That's why you guys go first.
I will say with the nose on it, I liked it better without the water. The nose kind of, I said it earlier, it got stronger with a little bit of water.
Well, that's how I feel about the taste of it. I think that I prefer it actually before the water.
Yeah.
Because it was more subtle spice. It was more subtle
yeah.
for whatever reason. I got more caramel. I got more of the vanilla. Are you getting any fruits out of this?
Not plum.
I don't get plum either.
I was about to say, I don't know, just dark fruit notes. I don't know, like
really?
Maybe, I don't know, raisin, if anything.
Okay.
Kind of like a bitter dark fruit.
Yeah.
A little bit, which that's complementing the oak too.
It's definitely oak.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's a massive, massive oak taste.
Yeah.
So, which, there's a lot of tastes that come out of it, which is why they're aged in oak barrels.
Have either of you guys been to Wild Turkey?
Yes. It's fantastic.
Nate?
No, I've only been to one. Well, technically, I've been to two distilleries.
Yeah.
I've only been on one tour, and that was for Angel's Envy in Louisville.
That's right.
Because that's one that you actually have to schedule a time.
Yeah.
Like you actually have to book an appointment time to go on a tour. Whereas a lot of the ones you can just walk right in, and they get you on the next tour. And so we had a couple hours to kill in Louisville, and so we just started walking through downtown, and there's actually there's a couple distilleries in downtown Louisville that you can just walk in and take a. Some of them are actually like mini tours, like the distillery is elsewhere in the state of Kentucky, and then they just have a little tour there in the city, like Jim Beam. They have one there, the Jim Beam Experience, that's right in downtown Louisville.
What about Evan Williams too? They have an experience.
Evan Williams has one. I think it's like 6 blocks down the street from Angel's Envy. But no, other than Angel's Envy, I haven't gone on any other like true distillery tours.
Well, Eric Carico, I think I'm saying that right still. Eric, I'm sorry I keep mispronouncing your last name. He said you should all come here. And he's got 10 now, so he's building a small empire down there. So we definitely want to come down. In fact, I think that's a goal for the first 2 quarters, first half of the year, next year, for us to come down and do a podcast from there, do a couple tours, because I want to do that. Jake, you were saying, I know you're sharing something right now,
but
go ahead. Talk to all of us about what the Wild Turkey Distillery Tour.
So the distillery tour is it's actually really nice, and they've built a pretty much like a gift center area. Yeah, but this is it's separate. It's not attached to the distillery or anything. It's they've really, I think they've kind of gone the Jim Beam route, but it's much more picturesque. And it kind of depends on which way you come into Wild Turkey, because you can come through Lawrenceburg, which is where Wild Turkey is, Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, and you can come through the back way, which you kind of come up over this hill, and it looks really commercialized. And then if you come in kind of the main entrance, I think the north side, I forget what road it's called, but if you come in that, you come down this winding road, and it opens up into a valley with this river. I don't think it's the Kentucky River.
So you're saying it's more scenic just coming into the place.
Yes, it's beautiful. And then
sounds nice.
And then you cross this beautiful bridge, and then you see the welcoming center, and it's got these big pane glass windows, and then you see this awesome billboard, and it's Jimmy Russell smiling, and it says, nice. This is the house that Jimmy built.
Love it.
So, and then the
Dave
hills
Sanders says Route 33.
Yeah, Route 33. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for everyone. Well,
that's what's great about the community.
Yeah.
We got so many people out there that have been. There's people out there that have been to more distilleries than probably the three of us combined have.
Yeah.
So there's so much knowledge out there, and that's one of the great things about not only the podcast but about the community page. Like everyone just coming together and sharing knowledge. And
yeah.
No, it's awesome. I will say the first time that I was at Wild Turkey, I was really I was disappointed when I first went there.
Why were you disappointed?
The reason why I went, or the reason why I was disappointed, was because it is really commercialized when you go on the tour. So, but when you go a second time and kind of understand, you got to realize that was when I was first getting into bourbon. So
right.
I had gone to places like Jim Beam and Four Roses and places that have a little more artsy way of explaining things in their tour, the way that they create their warehouses, not the warehouses, but where they have their vats and their main factories and stuff and distillery. It's not as metallized and all this stuff. It was Wild Turkey's very industrial, I guess I'll say that.
Yeah, they're the big boys.
Yeah.
Or, one of the big boys. When
you got,
there's no one else there, but
yeah.
I mean, it's not like going to, like, when Jake, you and I went down to Willett. I mean, it's like you do that tour, and it reminded me of just, like, there's literally, like, maybe 12 people working here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's more that what you would imagine old school.
Yeah.
Wild Turkey is slightly larger.
Well, but you still have, Uncle Jim in the back falling asleep because he's waiting on the vats to age or ferment.
Don't lose it entirely. I think that's kind of cool. You don't lose it entirely, but I mean, to do that kind of volume and everything they're doing is, you're going to have that industrial. But I can see your point.
Yeah, no, but the second time I went, Alicia came with me, and it was absolutely amazing because. So we drive next to the Welcome Center because you kind of go down a hill and drive to the Welcome Center, and then this older gentleman sitting in the window, and I said, "Is that who I think it is?" And Alicia, says, "What?" Anyways, I'm like, "Come on," we go in, and it's Jimmy Russell.
That's amazing.
And he from time to time when he's not traveling, because he's these master distillers, especially the old ones. That they're rock stars in the industry, and from time to time he'll go down there and just sit for visitors and stuff, and he'll sign bottles and everything and talk to you, and he's a really down to earth man, and it was pretty awesome. So
yeah, he seems to be, and Eddie's the same way. When we met him, is that the family still likes to talk to people.
Yeah,
I mean, they love what they do. They love the history behind it. They love the family side behind it. So I love that.
Yeah.
If you guys are out there listening, check out Eric. Eric, share your link again with all of your tours and your what was it? All the houses and where you can stay, because I think as everyone's looking at the new year, I think this is the time when people try to plan some trips and stuff like that. So I know we should try to plan, or we will try to plan a trip down to Bourbon Trail and check all that stuff out.
Yeah.
Possibly we have a trip coming up in 2020 also up to New Holland, where they're doing some cool things.
Awesome.
Up in Michigan. So we might be traveling a bit. Might be outside the garage here in the next year, which will be fun. It's something that we've wanted to do for a while.
Yeah, I'd like to still come if I can.
Yeah. If you can get off work.
Yeah.
We can line it up. All right, so going on to the New World. This is New World. Now they're calling it the Oscuro. Originally it was just New World.
What?
Yeah. They're calling it Oscuro because now they have a New World Connecticut. They have a New World Puro.
Cameroon.
They have a New World Cameroon. This is, according to AJ Fernandez's website, it's now called the New World Oscuro.
Is this an Oscuro wrapper leaf?
Yeah, Oscuro, I think they're using it because it is they call it a dark Nicaraguan wrapper.
Okay.
And typically, so when you're actually, again, this is kind of for people that haven't heard this on the podcast or don't know it in general, Oscuro is typically going to be used for something darker shade. It's a shade darker than Maduro.
Huh.
Yeah. So everyone knows Maduro. Everyone thinks that Maduro is a darker leaf. What are you smoking, Kyle? La Polina Oscuro, yeah. So, again, I mean, we're using it. The BS Silver that we have is a Rosado Oscuro.
He didn't even know he did that.
What do you mean?
Smoking a Oscuro wrapper, too.
Well, no, but he knew that's what they call that cigar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Oscuro is not a seed; it's a shade, just like Maduro. But this is a Nicaraguan dark. They call it dark Nicaraguan wrapper.
Okay.
It's got I think it's Nicaraguan throughout. So you got they actually represent all 4 major regions of what does it say? Oscuro, right?
He was looking at the color. Yeah.
Oh, I got you. You're looking at the shade of the wrapper between the 2 cigars. Close. New World's a very dark cigar.
You made him curious.
Well, that's good. That's how we learn. Binder's going to be from the Jalapa region, and then you're going to have Esteli, Condega, and then Ometempe.
So is this considered a Puro?
Yeah, for some.
Technically,
it's a Nicaraguan Puro, to my knowledge. People also use the term Puro if it's the same throughout. So it's not just from Nicaraguan. It's from a region. It's a seed, and it's gonna. It's like a Corojo Puro.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But, people will use Puro just because it is a Nicaraguan. It's an all Nicaraguan cigar, to my knowledge. So it's a box press. This is going to be what they call a Robusto. It's actually a pretty hefty Robusto, I'd say. The New World, the reason that we're doing this tonight is to go with our turkey dinner. We're going to be having a cigar that is called the New World, which was a collaboration, if you will, with AJ Fernandez and his father. And this is something that when AJ was really making it into the brick and mortar side of things, as opposed to doing some of his online efforts, this was one that he really, I think, pushed out initially, and it was a hit, at least at our shop. It's a hit most places. Very popular cigar. They called it a budget cigar. It's creeped up in price a little bit.
Well, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Juarez that we smoked last week. Around that same price point.
It's the same price point, same value of a cigar. I think.
What is it now? Price.
So for this Robusto, it's $850 and it's $895 on our shelf. So when it originally came out, this cigar was $695. Wow. So over the last several years, it's creeped up a little bit, which is so is everything else. Like I said, like we had the Juarez last week with Miguel on, and he had something where he's like, this is a value driven cigar, and it's coming in on our shelf about $9.
They got to pay for the taxes, man.
Pay for the taxes, and just everything's gone up.
Yeah.
Everything's gone up. So this one, though, it's called New World, and it is kind of a nod to Christopher Columbus. The artwork on the band is very interesting.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's kind of something that he's done on a lot of his cigars, where he's painting a picture, literally with a picture. And it's what do you guys think?
My favorite part about the kind of the marketing behind this, I don't know if you've ever noticed it, but if you look at the back side of the band, it actually says "Satisfaction Guaranteed."
Does it have his signature on the inside of that, or not on that?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, he's done that. It's not his actual signature, but it's a print of his signature.
Yeah.
AJ is big on that, and he is big about satisfaction guaranteed. I don't know who you're going to go to if you don't. I mean, do you write an email if you're not happy with the cigar and say, "Hey, I'm not satisfied"?
Yeah.
They don't leave an email address.
I don't know how they make it right. They have a website, but I do like the marketing behind it. It's on the outside as well. Esteli, Nicaragua, and satisfaction guaranteed on the outside of the band as well.
Lifetime warranty.
Well, it's not going to last a lifetime.
Yeah, this isn't going to last too long.
If you don't humidify it, right?
I think this is medium to full body. What do you guys think?
Yeah, medium to full body. I get a lot of pepper through the Retro Hale.
Okay.
Full flavor, definitely. I mean, the flavor and the spice just kind of lingers on your palate for a while. So if you're someone that likes fuller body cigars, this is, or maybe you haven't quite gone the route of full body cigars, like this would be something to kind of bridge that gap from medium to a fuller body cigar. But it's got great flavor. I've never had one of these with a construction issue or draw issue. So when you're talking about a cigar that used to be $6, now it's $8. Yeah, that's still a really good value to get a cigar that burns this well, has this much flavor.
Right.
And they're super consistent.
Oh, absolutely. Very, very consistent.
I feel like AJ is known for his consistency.
Yeah, I would say.
Bobby Crow says, "What is your best memory when smoking this cigar?" I got to be honest, I don't really have any major memories. This is not one that I don't know. It's not that I'm not saving it for a good time. This is like a daily smoke for me. Like, and I don't smoke it daily. Don't get me wrong. It's like, but this is in that category of something that if I'm looking for something I want to smoke, but I don't really know, and I'm in the mood for something like more medium, full body.
I don't think I've smoked this one in a year and a half.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I
Why
think,
is that?
I don't know.
Because you were smoking these
Yeah, I know.
when you first started with the tinderbox. You were smoking these quite a bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I've dialed down. Like when I first started smoking cigars, it's like I went straight to the full.
Oh, dialed down in strength.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so now I stick around pretty much medium all the time.
Yeah.
Unless it's like my third cigar, and then I kind of go heavier so I can taste it a little bit more.
I get it.
I think this is one of those where, especially working in a retail establishment, like, okay, I've smoked this, I've had it a few times. As a customer, I've bought it a few times. Now you're working at a shop that's got 500 different cigars to choose from. It's like, this is something that you may overlook just because it's not new. It's not the most expensive AJ. It's there's a lot of other things that he makes that people might say are better than this one. But
he's got more variety now too.
He does, and so I think it's one of those things where people are. It's the same reason why people pass up Montecristos. Like, Montecristo is an absolutely phenomenal cigar, but they just want to try different names or things that are newer, something more boutique. AJ's not a boutique cigar maker anymore.
No, not anymore.
No. So you got people that want to come in, they want to try something new, and so they forget about this. And so it's nice to every now and then come back to it.
I forgot about it.
Yeah.
So what do you think about it, Jake? I mean, you used to smoke it. So where are you at now? You live back up here.
It still surprises me that this cigar still surprises me because it's so rich in flavor that it doesn't. You would expect it to be around like $12 or something.
Yeah, the way it smokes, I'd say that. Yeah,
the way it smokes, and the fact that it's kind of a extended Robusto, if you will.
Yeah, I believe it's the 5.5.
Yeah, so
5.5 and 54 ring gauge.
Yeah, it's 56.
Is it that?
Is
big?
it 56?
Okay,
so it's a box press, but I think it's a 56.
Yeah,
it's more of a rectangular box press than a square box press.
But anyways, I just think at the price point, it's perfect.
Really? Yeah, and I agree with you that even at $8 or $9, I mean, you're still good.
Yeah, this is. I think it's a perfect cigar. I think it's a good introductory to a full body for someone that doesn't smoke a lot of cigars.
Yeah.
Like if they go, this would be a cigar that I would do like an introduction to someone where one's like a mild, one's medium, and one's like medium to full.
Right.
Where they want to get the whole spectrum. This would be one of the cigars that I would suggest.
Yeah, because you're not going too overboard with the price. Nate, you said that you got a lot of pepper in the Retro Hale. I don't get as much pepper. Like, it's not going to be like it's not going to. When I think of pepper and everything, it's making my nose almost hurt. When I think of a lot of pepper,
it's
going to make me sneeze.
But you and I both have been retrohaling long enough and often enough that there's not too many cigars out there that are going to start making us water up.
There's a few out there. I will say that.
Yeah, there's a couple. I think one would be the Rubito size of the BS Silver, maybe.
Oh, jeez.
Or
what?
It just knocks my head off, man.
Yeah, when you do that.
Yeah, it makes you cry.
Oh, that was
HR Blue. I think does it a bit as well.
Yeah, maybe the Murcielago.
Yeah, sometimes
the Mi-Querida.
Mi-Querida's got a bit of it.
Yeah,
but they're out there. That's what I mean. Like I think I get what you're saying. It's got a little bit of that the warm pepper, but it's not going to be like a make you sneeze, tears to your eyes type of a pepper.
I think it's a smooth, deep, rich flavor.
I agree. It
coats
your palate for sure.
Yeah, I'm not getting. I haven't been retrohaling as long as you guys have, nor have I been smoking cigars as long as you guys have. But I think that it's smooth through the retrohale for me.
Yeah, it's rich. I agree. I agree completely.
It's kind of like last week, the pairing that we had last week with Miguel.
Thank you, Nate.
Like both the whiskey and the cigar coat your palate. The flavor.
Yeah,
and,
it's a full pairing.
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
Do you think of the pairing? You just took a puff of your cigar, Steve, and now you're trying to sip of the.
I like it a lot. I actually, because Nate gave me such a big pour, and I poured just a drop or two of water in there, and based on my comments earlier about like it gives it a little bit of more of that cinnamon, more of that heat. I when I first started smoking it and drinking this, I thought it paired better before I added the water, just because it was richer. And same comments as before on the whiskey.
Yeah.
So I think overall, I think it's a very good pairing. It's not a morning pairing necessarily.
No.
Not that, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with drinking 116 proof, in the morning.
I got a really, really nice. So I've been just like when we start talking about the cigar, I'd start with the whiskey and then puff the cigar because it does make a difference if you start with one or the other.
Oh, absolutely. Or if you keep on the cigar for a little bit and go back to the whiskey, or keep on the whiskey and then go back to the cigar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I got a awesome I don't know, it's like a big wheat bread.
On the
both
whiskey
of
or just in general?
Just in general,
wheat bread.
Yeah.
What'd you do? What sequence? Talk to me about the sequence again.
I know it's weird. I'm bringing back these notes.
Step one.
So, step one, take a sip of the whiskey, let it sit for a second.
Damn it.
I got you, Jake.
Whiskey. And take a small puff of the cigar, or big, it doesn't really matter. And then slow retrohale, as Steve likes to do.
Well,
Stop watching me.
I know.
What I
you guys
like.
are cool. Jake, stop watching me.
Yeah, okay.
What I like is about the pairing.
I actually kind of get it now you said that. It bothers me.
So
it means I'm not crazy.
Well,
it's the psychology we
to be
talked
determined.
about.
Yeah.
But no, you have the richness, you have the full flavor and a little bit of spice from the cigar, but it balances very well with some of the sweetness that you get from the rare breed. Like with that vanilla and that caramel note that I get, it balances very well.
It brings out the rye, I think, in the whiskey a little more. Not as
the rye characteristics.
Yeah.
I got you.
And I hate when I hear in reviews people don't like the word briny, but that is a note. Briny.
I think of pickles.
I think salt when I hear brine.
Yes.
That might be.
Yeah. And I think it's like rye bread. So I was getting the bread, maybe not wheat, maybe a little bit of wheat, but I don't know. The second time I did it was more rye bread. What's that bread that if you go to
pumpernickel?
Is that the dark? What's the dark loaves of bread that you get at Outback or
Outback?
At Outback, I think that is pumpernickel bread.
Is that pumpernickel?
Yeah. Rye has more of the swirl typically, right, or something like that.
That's marble rye.
It's like a
marble
dark.
Rye,
it's like a dark brown.
Mm.
Yeah, is that pumpernickel?
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like when we had
the pumpernickel rye from
Yes.
Middle West. That was amazing. It's like cocktail.
See, shit's starting to add up here.
God, give us another 95 episodes. We're gonna get this.
God, we missed you.
Yeah, missed you guys too. It's fun.
Well, I mean, with that, you guys have anything else on this?
Well, here.
Yeah, I was like,
we're here.
We miss you. All right, hug it out, everyone.
Aww.
I want to thank you guys for listening to part one of the podcast. So, again, we had Wild Turkey Rare Breed, Barrel Proof, and then also the New World by A.J. Fernandez. Avi says Oscuro bread. Good. Thank you, Avi.
I don't think that exists.
Well, it might.
We can make it happen.
So Oscuro shade.
If anybody could make that shit, it'd be Avi.
There you go. I want to thank our sponsors for part one of the podcast. You're going to have Tinderbox at Easton for providing the New World, now called the New World Oscuro by A.J. Fernandez.
Is it a different band?
No, same band as they've always had.
Okay.
What was your question, Nick?
Go ahead.
Are we doing 15% off on it?
Yeah, so 15% off between now and next Wednesday at the Tinderbox at Easton. If you guys want to come in and you're in the Columbus area or stopping by, visiting family, what have you, Stop in. We'll do it on a minimum of 1. You get 15% off. If you guys are getting them shipped, you're going to do a minimum of 5, and we can ship it out to you. You can contact us through the podcast page or Tinderbox at Easton directly and get that shipped out to you. Go to the post office about once a week. And then also Altadis USA, we are going to be lighting up the Montecristo White.
Woo!
Which is
I will
one
not,
of my favorites.
Unfortunately, but the other two guys will. I passed mine along to some of our studio audience. But I've smoked that cigar plenty of times, so it's fine. Great cigars. So we're going to do that for the part 2. And then also BS Cigar Company, thank you very much for providing with some BS silvers around the table, as always. And then also the gold will be back on the shelves and in the market come 2020.
Great way to kick in the new year.
Yes.
Yeah, are we talking
Talking January.
You don't know what day?
At this point. No, I don't know the day.
Probably end of January.
I'm going to hope for mid-January.
Like the 15th?
Right around the time of announcing the Smoking 10 event 8. So
we talking about like the 15th?
You know what? Just join our email list or tune into any of our social media. Jake's good having you back as we roll into part 2. But cheers.
Cheers.
Happy Whiskey Wednesday. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. And for those of you on the video, stay tuned because we're going to continue on to part 2.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cue the guitar music. What was that? No, we're doing this differently. So for everyone in the audience and also on Facebook Live, we did it last week when we posted the audio, is that right now on all your podcast apps, you will see 2 episodes. I can't number them necessarily, 95.1 and .2. You'll just see season 1, and you'll see them pop up. There'll be 2 episodes dropped on the same day, so you can listen to it.
This last week?
Last week, yeah, absolutely.
Cool. I like it.
So this will be something you're going to have more like around the hour mark for both of the audios. So if you guys are listening to it, if you're in the mood to listen to more of the intro of the guest and the cigars and the whiskey and everything else, listen to part 1. When you have time, you're interested in doing a little bit of the life topic, which tonight's going to be Don't Sleep on Thanksgiving, which we will get into momentarily.
Get your hand in there. Guest hand by Sean.
Sean, yes, absolutely. Which, by the way, this is a good time for those of you listening. Next week on Wednesday, December 4th, which is also a soft opening for Rocky Patel Burn by Rocky Patel.
I know. Sorry you're not coming.
I'm working on the 5th.
Really?
Going on the 5th. I'm trying.
Well, let me know.
I will, and I got an official invitation from Rob Wilson.
Hell yeah.
And
do you know I made that?
I haven't looked at it.
Oh,
but that's cool, man. I'm sure it's great.
I felt good about it.
Anyways, I'm sure it's beautiful. But next week we're going to have Sean Wilkinson. Sorry. Sean Wilkinson.
Damn it.
And AJ Kazmerzak, which is your favorite last name to say, Jake.
Yeah, I screw it up every time.
And so we're going to have them on, and I don't know necessarily how we're going to phrase the topic, but I will say, as always, is going to have whiskey and cigars in the first part, and the second part is going to be a pretty powerful and positive message. So for those of you that are around next week on Wednesday night, we're going to have Sean sharing his story, which is
amazing
fantastic.
Story, by the way.
Amazing story.
You sent me that little YouTube video that he has that he did, and that was, Sean, I got to tell you, that was an extremely powerful little video. Just hearing your story.
So we're looking forward to having you guys experience that. So let's without further ado, let's go into part 2 if you guys are ready.
I like it.
Happy Whiskey Wednesday, everyone. Again, this is part 2 of episode 95. Don't sleep on Thanksgiving. We are still drinking the Wild Turkey. And then there's Jake Sanders back in the garage.
2 in one night.
And you love it.
You just made Kylie happy.
And she's not even listening. Anyways, so we
think she's got an event going
We
on.
are still sipping on the Wild Turkey Rare Breed. If you guys listen to part 1, you'll learn more about that. And also smoking the New World Oscuro by AJ Fernandez, which we are also enjoying. And I want to thank our sponsors, Altadis USA, for providing us with the cigar for the second part, which is the Montecristo White Series.
You're not doing the whole, shoving it off to Nate with the...
Well, I'm not sharing it right now.
Oh, okay.
So, so we are doing the Montecristo White for the Altadis cigar. Thank you, Altadis USA.
I screwed up the mic
Josh
again.
Bentley and everyone else. And then also Tinderbox at Easton for that New World that I'm still enjoying. It looks like we've got them still going on the table here as well. for the continued support in the weekly featured cigar. That is going to be 15% off at the Tinderbox at Easton between now and next Wednesday at Tinderbox at Easton. You can either call in and order some, and we can ship to you, or you can go ahead and stop in if you're in Columbus and surrounding areas of Ohio. And then also BS Cigar Company, thank you for the continued support. That's usually the last cigar of the night for most people in the garage. We have the silver right now available, and then also the gold will be coming in 2020.
January 18th.
You can't say it. That's Jake talking. You don't know.
Softly.
If it's not on January 18th, go see him at Burn by Rocky Patel in Indianapolis and demand a free cigar because he may have lied to you with inadequate information. For those, I was going to say we have, for those of you listening on the audio part 2, we've got Nate Hale, who's pulling double duty here. He's on the podcast and also producing. And then also Jake Sanders is back. For those of you that have listened to the podcast over the last couple years, he was the co-host. He's still involved in the podcast, but he has a new career.
Not as much.
But he is going to be in Indianapolis at Burn by Rocky Patel, which check out the first part of the podcast to listen to more about what he's doing, about the location. It sounds fantastic. Guys, thank you for being here.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thanks for having me.
Don't forget one of our listeners, Eric, who has all the Airbnbs around the distilleries.
Yes.
If you mention the Bourbon and BS podcast, you will get 15% off your stay at one of his B&Bs.
This is Kentucky.
Fantastic.
Kentucky distilleries.
And again, we're planning on taking advantage of that deal in 2020.
Because he also said he usually has a lot of bottles available.
He's got a lot of bottles and he has a lot of connections down there. So,
yes.
Eric, thank you very much for extending that to everyone else. And thank you for everyone listening on the audio and also staying tuned on the Facebook Live.
Very nice.
Don't sleep on Thanksgiving. Let's see. Where did this come from? So, obviously, a lot of people sleep on Thanksgiving after eating their turkey dinner.
Tryptophan.
Yeah.
Tryptophan. Is that how you say it?
Yes. But
talk to us about that, scientist.
Hormone?
Hale.
No, tryptophan is an amino acid that is in turkey, and it gets this reputation that if you eat turkey, because of the tryptophan, it makes you sleepy. Actually, in just the tryptophan alone, you would have to eat like an entire turkey by yourself in order for it to have enough chemical for you to actually get tired. Most people get tired because they eat so much and their system is using all their energy to digest all the food they just ate.
Well, the amount of carbs.
That's what makes
carbs alone that you eat,
you
crash from that. It's like sugar, right? I mean, so there's
insulin
that
spikes, and then it
and
comes
then also,
down.
Yeah, the insulin, and then also the wine, and there's also the whiskey and the beer, and the putting up with your in-laws, and also dealing with the kids running around and preparing for everything.
I've never been to a Thanksgiving that had wine.
I've never been to a Thanksgiving that had whiskey or wine.
Well, yeah, same.
So tomorrow,
I'm the only person in my family that really drinks.
Well, tomorrow I'm bringing both the whiskey and the wine, so you guys are doing it wrong. Bring it.
I'm not hosting any of these Thanksgivings.
I'm not hosting either. I'm bringing it. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
It doesn't take as long to prepare.
Or are you like Disney cheerleader from 2000?
What?
No, I think it's probably before 2000, but no, it's a good movie.
Bring it on, man.
No, I'm telling you. All right, you guys bring it on.
Bring
However
it.
you want to say it. I'm saying I don't want to hear anyone say. I don't want to hear anyone saying they don't bring. Oh, you're like,
bring it.
We don't have. I've never been to a Thanksgiving without whiskey or with whiskey or wine, and it's like there's an easy solution to that.
Bring it yourself.
Yeah.
Says Jake's like, yeah. Says the guy that brings a bottle of whiskey everywhere he goes.
At least 2.
Okay, so all right, you got half of it. Now stop by the store and pick up a bottle of wine, and boom.
I know, but I can't do that at my grandma's house. That's
aware.
what I'm saying.
I'm aware.
So yeah.
And you don't feel right about drinking out of a flask at your grandma's house.
That's what I should do tomorrow. That's what I should
Drink
do.
out of a flask at Jake's grandma's house?
No comment.
No, I should take a flask to my in-laws.
Hey, we have we
Bobby said it's
substitute.
called a flask.
We substitute for not having whiskey and wine with ham and turkey. So I'm pretty happy with that.
I think that's an amazing combo. I don't think that's the same thing, though.
Yeah.
All right, so don't sleep on Thanksgiving. This is kind of the...
Is that a metaphor?
It's kind of a metaphor. It's a clever topic title for what we're talking about. Last year we did a Thanksgiving episode, and it was about giving thanks, and we talked about a lot of things during that podcast. So check that out. It's episode 40-something. that had Dustin on there. I think it was like 47.
Real specific.
Well, about
between
52
40 and
weeks ago,
49.
so
Yeah.
it was probably somewhere around the 43 mark.
Just listen to 40 through 50,
Go back over the weekend if you're not working and listen to episodes 1 through 94.
and you'll have 20 hours. You can listen to Bourbon and BS podcast
20 hours.
for 20 hours.
More than that.
I think he's talking about if you just do 40 through 50. That'd be 10
Oh.
episodes. But
Yeah.
don't forget, that'd be closer to 30 hours because back then you guys were doing 3-hour
Yeah,
episodes.
you're right.
So, all right, don't sleep on Thanksgiving. The whole thing is this is kind of where it's coming from, and we can go into a little bit further. But all right, so there's people out there that will complain about the whole thing about starting Christmas music the day after Halloween.
No.
No, what?
No.
You don't complain about it, or you do? You don't agree with playing Christmas music?
I don't agree with it.
Okay,
So I'm those people.
you're those people.
Yeah.
And this is not to to exclude. This is just I got to say the PC part of it a little bit is not to exclude anyone that doesn't celebrate Christmas or Thanksgiving or anything like that. But this is what we're talking about: is basically jumping ahead and passing over. And again, not about the religious side of Passover. It's about moving past Thanksgiving and just skipping it.
Yeah.
And as soon as Halloween, sometimes even before that, people are getting excited about it. But people are looking forward to it. Come November 1st, all they're talking about is Christmas and the holiday season.
There's another holiday in between Halloween and Christmas.
That's the point.
Yeah, there's almost 2 months.
Right.
There's almost 2 months, and I don't get it. Bobby says enjoy the moment. That's kind of the peel the layer off the onion there.
No.
Which we'll get into.
No.
No what?
Nothing. Go ahead.
No, go on.
I don't
Say
know.
what you want to say to Bobby.
Because I think he's implying. I know what he's implying.
What?
Well, just like because you're living in the moment, like you're feeling, you're
I-
ready for Christmas.
No, I think he's saying the
Into the-
opposite. I think he's saying what I'm thinking is that if you're moving too quickly and you're already thinking about 2 months in advance and you don't even think about Thanksgiving in the whole month of November,
Yeah.
you're basically just kind of hitting the gas, moving through November, and just can't wait till it like it's a vacation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're going to miss out on a lot of things. My whole thing is that Thanksgiving, there's a lot of history behind our Thanksgiving in the U.S. A lot of countries celebrate a similar Thanksgiving. With different, background there, but it's something that obviously came from the harvest, and then it was this whole thing where they reaped the benefits of the harvest.
Yeah.
And they had the great meal and all this stuff. So I would say with Thanksgiving, here's the other part of it is that today was a prime example. Is that I feel like there are several people today alone that I had experiences with, and I feel a lot of people. It's like they're complaining about Thanksgiving more than enjoying it.
Yeah, because they want to skip it, right?
Yeah. Are you ordering Jimmy John's right now?
I'm not ordering Jimmy John's. I was trying to look up because Thanksgiving isn't. It's actually a time-based thing. Like it's not. Well,
Right.
I'm sorry. When I say time, I don't mean like it's a specific day.
Mm-hmm.
It's always what is it? The
Fourth Thursday.
The fourth third. Yeah, the
In the
fourth.
U.S., yeah, it is.
Yeah, so I think that's interesting.
And it's a federal holiday.
Anyone know when it became a national holiday?
Why don't you tell us?
As the fourth Thursday?
Well, when Thanksgiving itself, not when it became the fourth Thursday.
1776, America.
No, but
When the New World happened.
no, when
It's way
Thanksgiving
before that.
became a national holiday.
No, I don't.
1900s.
No, before that.
Shit.
Before Civil War?
Abraham Lincoln, 1863.
Really?
So during the Civil War.
Yeah, at the tail end of the Civil War, as
All right.
as a way for.
Do you have more to this story? Like as far as like the reason?
Just tell us.
So Abraham Lincoln signed a proclamation in 1863 asking all Americans to ask God to commend to his tender care all those who have become widows, orphans, mourners, or sufferers in the lamentable civil strife, and to heal the wounds of the nation.
Haven't heard that word.
That
But
is
lamentable?
Lamentable, like to lament.
What does that mean?
So to remember, to mourn
Okay, I
for,
gotcha.
to think on.
I've never heard that word before.
So a completely different meaning, but actually more, I would say, pertinent to what I look at Thanksgiving now, which for me is something that I actually look forward to a point. Being in retail these days, obviously it's the beginning. It's like kind of the last time you're going to have off before the new year. Yeah, for being in retail. But I just think that there's something that you can celebrate there. And we talked about it last year about giving thanks and all that stuff. But I'm kind of tired of the bullshit of people like just passing it over. Like they just like skip over it. Like it's just something you do, and they some people enjoy it, but at the same time they're ready for Christmas.
But you got to think that's because of Black Friday and Cyber Monday.
Well, I think there
Black
is...
Friday was original. That's my kind of my point is that at one point Black Friday was something that from the retail standpoint, that's what we're talking about. It was a Friday.
You have Thursday and Friday.
Well, no. What I was saying was
and then Saturday.
No, because now you have stores that open on Thanksgiving.
Right. So Black Friday was something that they had some
like us.
Great deals, right? So they had great deals on that day. Everyone would like be with family. They thought as a retail, kind of environment that you would be able to get up in the morning, go camp out. They have these amazing sales. And then if you miss out on Black Friday, they get this big surge to their holiday season from a retail sales standpoint. And then they coast through December and then maybe have like one more sale. And then everything else is on sale the day after Christmas.
It puts you back in the black.
Right. But now everyone has sales throughout November. Well, all year round, first of all, but they have, I'm already seeing like early Black Friday sales, and then it's Cyber Monday happened, and then it was like the whole month of December, everything's 40% off. So it doesn't matter when you buy stuff unless you want like that particular specific TV. You're not gonna get that deal on the $100 TV that's normally $1,000 that each store has 10 of. So if you camp out outside, you might get that one TV. Oh shit, we're out. Okay, cool. You buy something while you're here. And then they have people at Walmart stampeding over each other because people are fucking animals.
That just drives me nuts.
I love how the first example out of everyone's mouth when they talk about Black Friday is about televisions.
That was, I think, the biggest thing. Like I still have a TV in my house that has been a trooper.
Did you get H.H. Gregg?
I got it at Best Buy, but it wasn't. No, I'm saying like at the time, it wasn't. My brother's done the Black Friday thing. I just bought that at one time. It's a 50-inch TV, and at the time it was $2,000. So if I get a $2,000 TV for $700 and I can surprise my family with a TV underneath the tree or next to the tree, unless you have a gigantic tree, but it's something that you do that because you're going to save $1,300 and probably spend that on other presents. But that was the whole. TVs were just so expensive at one time in the 2000s.
Oh yeah, they
just
were.
Well, and before that,
they're still expensive. Like you get the curved ones, and
no one wants a curved TV. That's garbage.
Alicia's dad has one.
Or you have
badass.
Or you have
I've never seen it. I just don't believe in it.
They're badass. I mean, when you have a big living room and you kind of like, it'd be perfect in yours because your seating's kind of like on the walls and your TV's in the corner.
Wider viewing.
Right, but from an angle you can see
half the TV.
No. It brings.
It's not curved that much.
It's
Steve.
like I'm sorry. It's like a half of a 3D thing going on. Does that make? Never mind. We'll get through it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I love Thanksgiving. You know why? I bet you can
don't.
guess.
You love food. That's right.
Can you pass the?
And I can hate myself.
Hey, speaking of Thanksgiving, can you pass the turkey?
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
And I can hate myself in 3 plates.
Well, it's
And then eat a fourth.
No, the fourth usually consists of all the pies and
Correct.
cookies. Yeah. See. Yeah.
Correct.
I got you.
See, even Alicia's mom's in on the chat here, Sheila.
Did she say something about the curved TV? I'm sure
I think
it's great.
she's
I'm sorry, Sheila. I
you didn't know you were on the spot. Now
I'm always on the spot, so no, I'm fine with that. I just didn't. I don't get it. I guess I've never experienced it. Kind of like you with scotches back in the day, Jake.
Yeah.
Just didn't like them.
That was a weird day.
I just dropped my cigar on the floor.
Why?
Because I went
the wild turkey.
That's tobacco abuse.
I was trying. Well, I only had about an inch of it left, so I guess now would be a good time to light up the White Series. Unless Kyle, you want to duck down under the camera and
oh, that's gonna be weird going underneath the table here with a couple.
He's
of guys
not going underneath the table.
Are you wearing a kilt?
No, I was talking.
Jesus.
There's a lot of metaphors here.
That was not a metaphor.
No, I think.
Example? I don't know. What would you call it?
Yeah, example.
All right. And no kilts. Just a dude going. Never mind.
But no, I think a lot of people
it's amazing.
They look at Thanksgiving as it's just a big family dinner. That's it. just a big family dinner. And it's kind of lost some of that special meaning because, people go to them and then it's like, yeah, cool. Now I need to go home, take a nap before I get up early and start doing all my Black Friday shopping. And
some of us have to go back to work too. I mean,
yeah, but it's weird. I've already seen it on Facebook once already today, where only in America do we spend a day being thankful for all the things that we have, and then the next day we're trampling over each other for a bunch of plastic shit.
Yeah, that's right.
Or the one I like is spending money you don't have on people you don't like.
Yeah. So it is sad. But as far as the Thanksgiving side of it goes, is I don't know. I look at it, and maybe it's changed over the years. So, like when I was younger, I thought Thanksgiving was a great holiday to look forward to. It was fall, which we don't tend. Like I don't know if as you get older, maybe I didn't realize it at the time, but it's like in Ohio, at least in the Midwest. For those of you listening in the Midwest, I'm sure it's different elsewhere, but fall was even through Thanksgiving. So November, basically, you had the leaves on the ground. You're doing like the hay rides and stuff like that, maybe still, and you're going to. You had the pumpkins. You got to throw away the pumpkins. Then you got, you're raking the leaves. It's kind of a gradual thing to winter, and part of that was Thanksgiving. And I feel blessed to have a good family that we did get together every Thanksgiving. Sometimes back in Chicago when we had, grandma around and we had all the cousins and aunts and uncles and all that stuff. We'd get together in Chicago. After we moved here, we kind of did our own thing. Over the years, it's obviously evolved where people will differently, like they'll have different traditions, and so it's something
that was a good one.
It's something that content Kyle taking some pictures. Kyle B. Smith photography taking pictures. Photography. Photo.
It's photo.
Did you change it again? Come on.
I tried to find it for like a half hour, and I was like, it's not fucking photography.
Yeah,
it's photo.
It we'll get into that. But for me, it's something that's changed. And I know last year I commented on it. It was that, as people, as your family grows, if you're around family that has younger ones, I mean, this is something that I think keeping traditions alive. And I think it's kind of bullshit to skip over again Thanksgiving just to keep pushing Christmas, throwing up Christmas trees on like November 1st or, like first part of November. Like really, it's part of people rushing everything to be that more social commentary where people are constantly just getting to the point that they want. They're not just enjoying what they have. That was the whole thing that Bobby Crow, I think, was saying.
Yeah.
Is that enjoy November. Like, Jesus. Like, it's like enjoy it. Enjoy Thanksgiving. And I know everyone has some different experiences sometimes, but, for me it was, yes, a good meal. Yes, it was football and stuff. It's that traditional, Midwest suburban, kid type of a thing. I get that not everyone has that. But as years have gone by, being married, being divorced, and having people come and go, not just that person, but other people come and go over the years, and then when I've got my niece and nephew and people have kids, I mean it's like you want to continue that tradition. I think that builds up to it. When I lost my father, it was like last year was the first one, and then this year will be the second, and it's something that tomorrow I'm going to still try to swing by the cemetery and see him. So it's to that thing with the Abraham Lincoln statement that you mentioned, Nate. I think there is something there. It's giving thanks for the people you have around you. If you're hopefully you're gainfully employed, the job that you have may not like all the time, but you have that. Jake, for you right now, it's you feel thankful for this opportunity that you have and scared to death, even though you don't admit it or realize it possibly of the huge change, but you're thankful for it. I mean, it's like that's the
realize.
thing. I mean, things will change over the years, but that's what I love about this. So, like when I say don't sleep on Thanksgiving, is don't sleep on it. Like don't sleep on the holiday. Don't just let it pass you by and just I don't get along with this in-law. I don't get along with this. I don't want to travel. I don't want to do this. It's like just fucking do it. Like what I mean? Enjoy it. And if you don't want to do it, make your phone calls and start your own tradition. I mean, that's also possible.
Well, I think you touched on a couple of reasons why Thanksgiving can be so stressful to some people. If you're married like I am, and let's say that all of our families lived here in town, I would have one Thanksgiving for my mom's side of the family, one Thanksgiving for my dad's side of the family. You got my wife's mom's side of the family, her dad's side of the family. So you feel like you're just constantly rushing around to try and visit everybody.
It's hectic, it's stressful.
And then, with my in-laws, the closest in-laws I have live 2 hours away. So in order for me to go to one Thanksgiving, I have to skip at least one other Thanksgiving. So I'm missing out somewhere. And
if you're trying to do it all on the same day, you want to talk about meals and servings. You're having 3 Thanksgiving dinners and driving around between them. I did that.
Usually by the time I get to the last
yeah.
one, that's when I just eat dessert.
There was a Christmas movie about this.
4 Christmases.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Great movie. But it's true. I mean, that's
the same thing.
That's what Alicia, my dad's watching. I hope he doesn't get mad because I haven't.
He actually did comment on what I said earlier, agriculture-based holiday, giving thanks for the harvest, not the kickoff to spending for Christmas. That's
right,
good.
Right. But it's like, Alicia and I, tomorrow we'll be doing 2.
So you're going to, where are you going first?
So grandma's, my mom's mom.
Yep.
And grandfather. And so we're going to go out east of Ohio, and then we're heading northwest after that to Alicia's parents.
So 2 total.
Yeah, 2. So, and we haven't done that for quite some time, and I think, I look at it as instead of complaining, you get to spend that time with probably people that you don't get to see.
Yeah, that's perspective there.
Like I know I haven't seen Alicia's parents, and we've been together for 5.5 years.
Yeah.
So I know, it's interesting getting into. I've never been in a relationship this far, right? So
how many years?
5.5.
Yeah.
So this far in basically having kind of a second set of parents, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Because my parents aren't, I know there's divorces, right? So you get, 2 Thanksgivings or 4 Thanksgivings or 4 Christmases and stuff like that. But I look at it as I haven't seen Alicia's parents in a long time. I know that they miss me, and I guess it took me a while to kind of understand, like, I have kind of a second set of parents that that care about me, which is interesting. So it kind of just tells you the depth of a relationship when it gets to that level, and I really enjoy it. Like, yes, it is a lot of work. No, I don't want to be driving 2.5 or 3 hours yesterday when I just did it today, because I've been working and getting things done, but I don't agree with the whole I have to do something or I have to do this. Like, I get the frustration with obligations, but it's your family or your friends.
But I mean, is there some frustration or guilt when you can't visit everybody in the same day? I mean, I don't know.
Yes,
I mean,
there is.
Your parents are still together, so do you guys do Thanksgiving at your parents, or do you do grandparents?
Grandparents,
yeah.
So you go to your mom's side of the family, you go to your dad's side of the family.
Yeah.
And what about with Alicia? Same thing?
Well, so we go to her parents, not her grandparents.
Okay. You only go to your mom's side, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, most of the time, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the compromise, right? And I think that's what families, and it's interesting how it changes over the time. Sometimes, parents are like, Thanksgiving's our traditions, and as families expand, right?
It gets harder.
There's brothers and sisters, or there's siblings, where.
Thanks, Kyle. See you, buddy.
Thank you, Kyle.
Good seeing you.
So there's if there's siblings, not only do you have if you're an only child, then you have to work with both sides of you and the significant other.
Yeah.
But now there's another one of those, and there's another one of those where it's like now they have maybe significant others, and they have kids, and they want to go to their significant other that's not part of your family. They want to go to theirs. So it's like where do you have Thanksgiving? And if you're a traditional family with the Christian background in the U.S., where you have or if you're celebrating certain events with other religions. But for me, it was Christmas and Thanksgiving. We kind of split. One year we do it here, or year we do it here, or one set of parents would be like, all right, so like this year, Liz, her parents both mom and dad all met over at her dad's place on Sunday because other people are traveling. Mm-hmm. And not everyone was there, but they celebrate. Hey, we're doing it on Sunday. Who can make it, be here? And who can't, then, we understand. We'll talk to you on the phone or whatever you want to do and celebrate the tradition. And then tomorrow I'm going over to my side of the family, and hopefully Liz can make it after work. But, you adapt, you evolve. But it's, I talked to someone today, a customer who, we had a pretty sarcastic and joking conversation about it, but kind of felt for the guy because, I asked him what he's doing. He asked me if I was traveling. I told him. I said, how about you? And he said, yeah, we're going here in Ohio. And he kind of had that look on his face. I was like, looking forward to it? And he's like, oh, yeah, real sarcastically. And he's like, and nice dude, but he's just like, I got to be honest, I don't get along with my mother-in-law. And I said, really? How long have you been married? And he's like, 38 years. And I was like, you still don't get along? He's like, no. I was like, what about the father-in-law? He's an asshole. And I was like, really? And he said, yeah, one time, like when my parents were alive, my mother-in-law absolutely insulted my mother at a holiday dinner and all that stuff, and they never got along. And it's like, God damn, I get it. Like, I mean, it's stressful. You're not going to get along with everyone. And so, I mean, I guess that kind of goes against the point of what we're trying to say here. But at the same time, is he going to do it? Yep. He grabs cigars. He can't smoke, but he's going to do it. He's going to be there for his wife and whatever kids are going to be there. And you just go through it. I mean, it's. I know it sounds kind of a sadder note, but I say you go through it for the tradition. You keep it going. You know what I mean? And if you really don't want to go, then you got to deal with that and have a negotiation with people that are around you and your family, and decide not to go because of said reasons.
Well, I think what also happens is like when you have a patriarch or matriarch of the family pass. So like when
the glue,
yeah. So like we always,
tradition.
So for my dad's side of the family, we always had Thanksgiving and Christmas at my grandparents' house, and then once both of those grandparents passed away, it's like, okay, now what do we do?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Each one of those kids now they host their own Thanksgiving and Christmas,
which people do.
So we don't all get together on those holidays anymore.
Well, and you got to think about that when there is a matriarch, patriarch, or what have you. They went through that too at some point. Mm-hmm. At some point there'll be a start of a similar, if not, the torch will pass. You're right. Jake went to pass his torch. Very good. Literal, look on how to do that.
I look at every major holiday as the same, and what I mean by that is I look at Christmas, I look at Thanksgiving, I look at Easter. Now I get that the three that I just named off are basically Christian holidays.
Yeah, they've also been in a secular light for a lot of ways too. They've been, but hallmark wise.
Yeah, but I'll say this is that all of them, even New Year's in the past, for me, some years I look at it all as giving thanks. It's kind of a reality check where it's like even if I don't like people, I'm still glad I saw them, because regardless, at the end of the day, they're your family. Or your friends, or your best friends.
I just don't. I mean, don't let it get to you.
Yeah,
the best you can.
But it's hard.
I mean?
I understand when there's things that family members say, and then there's strings that get cut because of that. So I think I'm blessed for the fact that I do have a grandmother that keeps the family together.
Yeah,
I think that that's why I've never missed a Thanksgiving, even if, throughout, I've had a cousin pass that was basically like a brother.
Right.
The other cousin, went off to the Army. Her brother went to the Navy. And then Allie, so Anthony was the cousin that passed. Allie is Anthony's sister. And Allie has to, she's in the service industry, so she works.
Yeah.
And when she comes, she's there, but I don't get to see her very long.
Yeah.
But I've made it a point that I will be at Thanksgiving, so that's why I'm I make sure that now that I have a new part of my family, that I'm going to take the effort to do what is right in my eyes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
It absolutely does. And so, like, Doug Ruffalo's listening in, according to Facebook, one of our top fans, because he is. Make the best of it and hang with the people there that you do not get along with. Or you do get along with, excuse me. So again, make the best of it and hang with the people there that you do get along with. Tough situation, though. And Bobby Crow says, also top fan, the real question is, how many times did you visit the family throughout the year before the holiday? We don't make that time anymore, in my opinion, which I think is great. And then Doug also chimes in, no one can push your buttons like a family member. I don't know, man. It's so funny because for me, I feel like we're one of those families, and maybe some of you guys can relate out there to me, is that I imagine sometimes that we're one of those families that on the way there are times where it's like, you know, the kids are complaining, I don't want to go, I'm tired, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? It's or on Christmas or another, Christmas especially, I want to stay home and play with my toys, even if they know they're getting toys and stuff at the other place too, so that kind of crosses it off a little bit. But it's one of those things where it's like, but as soon as you show up to the holiday, I don't know what it is about my family. I hear all this stuff, and I also hear, you know, in previous relationships, oh, my family's crazy, and I get there and I'm like, this is fine. Like, what are you talking about? Like, oh, I just, so and so just said this. I was like,
so
okay, God, I mean, like, when did that burn you? Like 10 years ago? You walked into it waiting for, Aunt Ethel to say something, the same thing that she says every year. I don't know.
He's making up a generic name. It's all right.
It's an older name, and there's not many Aunt Ethels out there anymore.
It's like 40s, man.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
So it's just, you go into it. It's what I don't know. Maybe I've had good experiences.
Thing I just said.
No, I said maybe. Yeah, Ethel is from the 40s. I got it.
Thanks.
I think that it's something that you go into it, and like I said, maybe you do put effort to present yourself, and I don't care, pushing your family's buttons is like, why? Like, what the fuck is the point? Like, I think those people need to hear this type of a podcast and say, when you show up, don't dagger someone in their back, and don't throw kidney punches. Just fucking enjoy it. Eat your turkey.
Ham.
Have a good time. Eat your turkey or ham. Drink your wine or don't if you don't have some. But just enjoy the time you have, because, I mean, it's not to play that card, but, I mean, there are times that you won't have this opportunity. Well, or you won't be the one there, and obviously you'll be dead, so you don't care, but they might miss you.
I know when Jess and I first got married, that was one of the things we had to try and balance, was both of us are from split-parent households. Mm-hmm. So how do you try and visit who you can? So when we started
4 Christmases, man.
But no, well, it's not that easy.
I'm going to do it.
But
yeah.
It's not that easy when, like, my family's all here in Columbus and her family is in Findlay, Cincinnati, Toledo, and Pittsburgh.
Right.
Like
Pittsburgh's a tough one.
It's a little tough. So what we first started doing was, all right, this year we'll do Thanksgiving at my family.
Yep.
And then we'll do Christmas at your family.
Right.
The next year we'll do Thanksgiving at yours and then Christmas at mine. And that didn't last very long because both of us at the time, we had matriarchs in the family that were up there in age. So my grandmother, because of her health, we didn't know how many more years we were going to have with her, so I wanted to spend every holiday I could with her.
Right.
My wife has an aunt who's now in her 90s, and everyone gets together at her house for the major holidays. But 9 years ago, just sitting there going, well, we don't know how many years we have with Aunt Charlie. Well, we've had a decade so far, so I mean I've lost all my all but one grandparent on mine, so we still got yours. But when we're talking about why all of a sudden we just skip past it,
no, before you do that, I want to say something.
Go ahead.
So moving away from the family that was my we were based out of Chicago. We were on the phone. We did the best we could. Because sometimes when you're younger, as kids we were younger and all that stuff, and you can make it work. based on the circumstances, is that you try to keep that tradition alive. At some point, you got to realize things change. Everyone's growing up. You know what I mean? My grandma was on my mom's side was the matriarch because my grandpa passed away. My other grandma passed away. My grandfather had passed before I was born. But it's one of those things that it came to a point where it's like, can't make the trip this year. It's just not going to happen. So I'm sure people were upset, but I think that it's tiring, and I think it's almost disrespectful to a point if people in the family are like, well, I feel like you're not making us a priority, and it's like, no, you are a priority.
Guilt
but the other
trip.
thing is that it's not like you're not the only priority. It's just why? I mean, be sad about it and be heartbroken and miss you. But I remember before cell phones and everything else, it was like we were running up long distance bills on holidays just so we could talk to it. And it was like, on our side we had a smaller group of people, but everyone else in Chicago, we always, then it went to long distance, but after 7 o'clock, it was a cheaper rate. You know what I mean? So then it was like, all right, so it's 7 o'clock our time, so we're calling, or they're in Chicago, they're an hour behind, so they're calling. But you call Grandma's house, and it's literally like I'd take my turn on the phone and talk to Grandma, talk to Aunt Beth, talk to Uncle Jeff, Aunt Gwen, Uncle Bill, Lindsay, Melissa, Kara, Chris. It was like I'm on the phone for 20, 30 minutes, and it's like, all right, cool. At some point in that, you pass off, like, all right, here's my brother.
Yeah.
All right, here's back to Mom. Here's Dad. You know what I mean? It's
It's like a relay.
Fucking make do.
Yeah.
It's going back to the whole thing like was last week, light up and lighten up. It's like being offended. It's like family members are like, Doug said it, he's still chiming in, which I love it, is that there tends to be one person who finds it fun to push the button. It's the same thing, even with family, even more so sometimes. It's like, don't be offended. Like, realize that things can change, and as life goes on, you're not the little kid. It's not your one family unit anymore. There could be 2, there could be 4, there could be 16. And unless people want to do it, it's like our Thanksgivings, everyone's going to take the week off of Thanksgiving. And on Sunday we meet here. And on Monday we have this Thanksgiving. And Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and through the whole week, we're going to be having Thanksgiving dinner somewhere.
Every single
But everyone
day.
wants to have the one holiday, the one day. There's only 24 hours in the day, and you're not going to be eating 18 meals and driving 17 hours. It's just not feasible.
Yeah.
And I think that's okay.
Yeah, that is.
Especially now. You can FaceTime. You can video chat.
But,
do all that stuff.
But the underlying obligation is the family.
Yeah.
You see, I hope that people understand that.
No, I think
like,
we do.
It doesn't mean that you have to get stressed out about going to all these places, but as long as the effort is known and there, and you make an effort to at least communicate on a day, one day out of every 3 or 4 months. You know what I mean? That's what it comes down to.
Maybe that's one of the reasons that this is so stressful. People do just sweep over it.
I mean, it is stressful, but what I'm saying is that why should that be the downfall of seeing or even speaking to your family?
No, I don't think it's downfall.
But people look at it that way.
I think it's the stress outweighs everything else, and that's maybe maybe that's the reason that you sleep on Thanksgiving.
I get stressed out. Obviously, I get stressed out too about it. Do I really want to? Like I said earlier, do I really want to drive that much tomorrow? No, but it's like what Nate said. My grandfather's getting up in age. He's had a couple issues with cancer and everything, and it's even sad to talk about, but it's like you don't know. It doesn't you don't know who in your family will be there the next. Yeah,
Well, I also think that speaks to Bobby Crow's point is he's making time during the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've started doing that more. Ever since we had that one episode and we were talking about just didn't we have an episode that was just living in the moment or something like that?
I'm sure.
Be here now.
Yeah, was that it?
Yeah, because something like that.
It doesn't matter. Anyways, my biggest point that night is when you think of something,
do it.
Text someone, or if you're thinking about something, text them, call them. Don't because there's always an excuse there. There's an excuse of saying, well, I don't know if they're busy. I don't want to mess something up. I don't really want to talk to anybody. No, just you're thinking about him. Let him know. You know, I mean,
it's funny now with text. I was just talking about this morning as I texted.
It's not that hard.
It's not that hard, but now it's like if texting is. I texted a coworker today just to make sure that tonight was covered because someone was out, and I was like just reviewing it. It was like 7 a.m. Hey, just want to make sure, like, just so I have it right, that you're covering tonight and Friday. And I was like, sorry to text you so early. He didn't text me back later, but he told me later, he's like, don't apologize for that. And I was like, well, I just know that if you text someone, if you're thinking about them and you're
well, that's courteous. That's just being courteous.
Yeah, but for you, it's like if you're thinking about them at 2 a.m., it's like send them a text.
Right.
Don't wait till the morning because you might miss the moment.
From my experience, there's a reason that's happening because I've had some
We've
really
had that story before.
I've had really freaking weird dreams that 10 years later they happen. So it's like a version of what I dreamt. Like it's like that deja vu, but it's not like.
Well, we haven't shared the story in a while, but I mean, this is a great time around the holidays. The reason you don't sleep on Thanksgiving is because of what you're saying is, missing your family members.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about this story in a long time, Jake. Having you back on, it actually reminds me of it. This whole conversation is the night that you and I stayed up until like 4 a.m. talking about our dads.
Yeah, and then next week.
And then the very next week, and that morning, I woke up at like, what was it, 4 a.m. I told you?
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't sleep or anything like that. And I had something on my mind, didn't know what it was. Got up, walking around the house, couldn't sleep. I literally was just completely awake. And that was the morning that my mom called me at 6-something in the morning and told me my dad had passed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not to bring everything down, but I think that's the powerful side of it is that this is a holiday that you can look forward to.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't sleep on Thanksgiving. Don't sleep on tradition. Don't sleep on celebrating each month, each day, and all that stuff. I think that I don't know.
Well,
I'm tired of it.
It seems like Thanksgiving gets passed over more.
Okay.
It seems like Thanksgiving gets passed over more than other holidays. I mean, I think a lot of it has to do because of its proximity to Christmas. I mean. What
people have no problem celebrating New Year's, by the way, to that point.
Well, because they look at that as an excuse to just go out and get hammered at a party.
Maybe. Or they have their traditions.
Well, hey, whatever. I always go out on New Year's Eve because that's my birthday. So I always say there's always a party. It's just never for me. No.
Speaking of bringing it down.
No. I think one of the reasons. I think one of the reasons why Thanksgiving gets passed over so much, why we don't necessarily look forward to it as much, is because the consumerism that follows. Like that's what everyone's looking forward to is what happens after Thanksgiving, like what happens between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Right.
And one of the ways that Jess and I get rid of that is we do our Christmas shopping all year round.
I do like that about what you said about that.
Jess starts Christmas shopping sometimes the day after Christmas for the next year.
She talked to me, I think it was February. I told you this later because you said you were done.
What?
Yeah, she talked to me, and it was February or March, I think, last year.
Gosh.
First quarter, maybe early second quarter of last year.
Yep,
and
you told me
she's
this.
like, what do you think about this for Nate? I was like, oh, yeah. And I forgot. I wasn't thinking like when your birthday was.
You told me about that
and
2
I'm
weeks
like,
ago.
Yeah, it was like a couple weeks ago because you said you were done with Christmas shopping. I was like, yeah, just talk to me like in February, March. And I was like, yeah, I think it's great. I think he'd like it. And what's it for? Christmas. And I was like, damn, you start early.
Yeah, she does.
It's great.
Well, and part of that's so that way we don't. So that way after Thanksgiving.
Baffled.
Well, no, the reason we do that is so that way we don't have to buy Christmas presents for everyone we want to buy for, 3-4 weeks before Christmas. Like
budgeting.
But you're a planner. You're a planner at heart. Both you are.
Yes, we are.
You know what I mean?
But doing that, like us doing that, we don't like. There's 2 places that Jess goes to on Black Friday for Black Friday deals, but they're not in a mall. They're not places that are highly commercial. They're not. They're not places that are going to get a whole lot of traffic. They're
it's called Cyber Monday, dude.
No,
just say it.
They're equine stores or tack stores, stuff for her horse and stuff like that. Those are the kind of places that she goes out to. She doesn't go to shopping malls to try and get a TV or to get a sweater or something like that. But I think because we do that, like, we don't have as much stress as other people put on themselves for Christmas.
Yeah.
So because of that, when Thanksgiving approaches, we can live in that moment. We can enjoy Thanksgiving for what Thanksgiving is because we're not looking beyond it already for the next holiday.
I couldn't plan like that to save my life. Because
maybe you'll get there.
Because the anticipation would kill me.
Well, that's
like,
that's the thing.
Did you want to see this gift I bought you? And it's like July.
Yes, that's how.
Where do you hide it in the house? That's my thing.
Jess hides all of hers at her mom's apartment. All hers that are for me, she hides at her mom's apartment.
Well, that's not fair. You know where it's at.
But I don't. I'm not going to go look for it.
Yeah, I was that kid.
I believe that.
Yeah, I
couldn't.
I believe that.
I couldn't do it.
I did that one time. It was in December.
It ruined Christmas.
And
Is that when you found out about Santa?
That was okay. You don't know how hard that was.
No, we're not going to talk about that.
Was it hard for anyone?
All I'm going to say is, in case there are any,
I was devastated.
I hope there aren't any kids watching.
I was seriously devastated.
Hang on, don't say anything.
Okay.
What I'm saying is,
why are there kids watching a Bourbon and Cigar podcast?
Because they
it's the
want
internet.
to be.
It's the internet.
Okay.
My
Role
point
models
is that
Jesus,
there are
speak
times,
for yourself.
Never mind.
No, say it, Steve. Please say it.
No, I don't want to.
What?
No, please
what? You can't do that.
There are times where Santa's got some secrets. For those that are listening that are
Saint
still
Nick.
in the belief,
He's a saint.
he is a saint. Shit, he buys all those presents for all those kids.
No, he makes them.
Well, the thing is that
I know the
all right,
the original story.
no,
I get
I'm
it.
going back to the
There's two
secrets.
stories.
There's another one.
There's
all
a
right?
history
You know what
about
I mean? There's a lot of factories in China that Santa is on the board of directors. They don't talk about it, but look up the facts. And I'm saying is look, and there is a person on a lot of board of directors, a lot of these factories with the first name Nicholas. I'm just saying.
Do you think well, actually,
You don't know.
no,
Look it up.
You don't know.
Prove me wrong.
Maybe Bobby can answer this.
'Cause he's in
In Japan, do you think that their marketing is an Asian Santa?
I don't know.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not being.
So kind of like how in the United States.
I don't know where this
I'm just
conversation's
saying.
gonna go.
You know what I mean? I'm honestly interested. He can answer that. Sorry.
So kind of like how in the United States we have a white Jesus.
All right. See, that's where I thought it might
Yeah.
go.
All right. We're gonna.
That's fine. This is a discussion.
No. But no, let's
Triggered.
let's get.
Hashtag.
But no, to get back to it, like, why do you guys think people out there skip over? Like, they sleep on Thanksgiving. Like, it's just another day before Christmas. Like, why?
I think it's because most people aren't educated about the actual history of it. It's like most things. Like, they're looking at it as just a food. It's just food. It's food and family. Okay, well, that's all we're doing today. There's no incentive either for children or whatever have you, because like Christmas is the big one because the kids get presents, people get presents and stuff like that. I think the superficialness of the holiday or the non-super whatever, I think that's how it gets skipped over.
All I know, so you say that with the kids. The other thing is also think about the things that we love about Thanksgiving dinner, which is a tradition.
Damn it,
whether it's turkey or ham. I got a nephew that for the first 6-7 years of his life, like, he doesn't want to eat turkey. He doesn't like. I don't care what you put, like the gravy, anything else. Like, he'll eat some of the potatoes. He wants his Jell-O. He wants like he doesn't even really like the canned cranberry sauce, which I don't get.
Do you guys get beets? Do you have beets?
So there's beets. All right, so that wasn't really part of our tradition, but now it is with my brother's in-laws. There's beets, and there's like the whole what do you call the tray?
That's more Easter, but
Deviled eggs.
Still have pickled it. Like,
oh no, God,
no. Jess actually
like the big red.
I probably wouldn't like Thanksgiving if that was part of it.
No, Jess, right when I left, Jess was making a homemade cranberry relish.
That's good.
And
yeah,
I don't like cranberries. I don't like cranberry relish.
So that's my point, is that obviously growing up, if you don't like certain foods, you're not going to like the holiday because you're just there aren't any presents, right? There's nothing really with that you really enjoy the holiday as a kid.
Did you guys have families that when you did Thanksgiving, you had to actually go around one by one and say what you were thankful for that year?
We still do that.
My
Really?
My grandmother,
Yes.
my
Yes.
grandmother does that. This will be the first Thanksgiving on my mom's side of the family without my grandfather, because last year he passed away a week after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Last year they actually had
That's tough. That's tough.
there were some of the siblings that actually had Thanksgiving in the hospital with my grandfather.
That's amazing.
But we would always sit there and have to go around, and it can be a time consuming thing when you have 30 people in a family that are all there in one room, going around saying what you're thankful for that year. And at some point it's like, yeah, I'll be thankful when I don't have to do this anymore. But you when all of a sudden you don't.
Did you say that?
No.
Okay.
I don't think Nate would say that.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah,
All right, well, I'm
he
wrong.
doesn't drink a whole lot at the holidays, so
No, I don't. I wait till I get home.
if he did, maybe
I wait till I get home to do that.
be thankful till the next for the next glass of whiskey.
But no, it's one of those things, kind of like you alluded to, like when you're younger and you're going through, all 30 of us saying what we're thankful for.
Yeah.
Like, it's boring. You don't want to. You're waiting to have dinner because we always had to do that before we had dinner, and so you're like, oh, well, everyone, please just shut up. Let's start eating.
Well, for a kid, that's hard.
Yeah, but then all of a sudden.
Then you have Aunt Ethel again over there just going on and on about everything she's thankful for because
That's
she hasn't talked to anyone for fucking 3 months.
That's my grandmother.
You know what I mean?
Hey,
that's my grandmother.
I'm not insulting your grandmother. That was an example.
No, that's the way my
Your grandma's name's Ethel?
no.
Oh.
But
I
she's
would feel real bad. Not really, but I mean,
No.
sounds like a lovely lady.
no. But no, that's but she's the one that goes on for like 20 minutes saying what all she's thankful for, or she
Yeah.
brings up something
Which I think is amazing.
or
by
she
the
brings
way.
up something that makes everyone else in the room cry, and we're like, God, I wish you wouldn't have said that.
But why?
You cold-hearted asshole.
No, I'm not the only one.
All right,
Trust
we got
me.
a family of assholes.
Here's my thing. Why is it so bad? Here's my thing. Why is it so bad to show emotion?
But no, that's
It's not.
but that's where I was
not.
but that's where I was heading.
yeah.
All right.
So, when you're younger and you're going through that, like it's just in the way. And then all of a sudden, you lose someone in the family. You lose your grandfather.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden,
Your dad, in my case.
exactly.
Yep.
Now, when you do that tradition of saying what you're thankful for, it changes.
It does.
Your mindset changes because of your experiences.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, I think your mindset changes just about holidays and family get-togethers in general. Because I mean, it's you as we grow. I know we have a lot of a wide age group listening, but the people above you, older than you, they've gone through things that you haven't gone through, and then you experience it. You know what I mean? Like for example, like my mom, she experienced losing both of her parents, right? Already. My brother's in-laws. There's been losses on those sides, and then now as me getting older, my brother getting older, and my niece and nephew have actually experienced it. You know what I mean? Like I said it last year on this episode of the podcast for Thanksgiving. It was like something that there was a chair at a lot of holidays that my dad used to sit in. Well, we handled it as a family, and I mentioned it before. It's something that was tough for me because. It was nice. It was comforting, but at the same time, it was still difficult that, my brother's older by 2 years. So at the dining room table that used to be my dad's chair, like that's where my brother sits now.
Yeah.
And it was, I don't think anyone talked about it. I don't think anyone maybe my mom and him talked about
That's
it, but
so commendable.
well,
Like,
I just think it's
I really like
you
that,
roll
though.
with it. This
That's
is
traditional.
how life, it's tradition.
I love that.
I've said it before. At my father's funeral, they came up to my brother and I and said, someone should, one of you should say something, or both of you should say something. And I told my brother, I said, I think you should say something.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I ever heard him speak in public like that, like do public speaking, in front of a group. And he brought tears to my eyes because he doesn't do it very often, but it was like a glimpse inside of someone's emotions that, I'm close to, but not that close to. You know what I mean? We share Hulu and Netflix together, you know what I mean? And we see each other at holidays. We used to play softball. No, we are close enough. I mean, if he needed anything, hopefully he'd call on me. No, I'm just saying, like, we weren't like the best friends siblings where it was like, we get on each other's nerves and, we do all. But it's one of those things that he took care of it. You know what I mean? Like, he was the next one. And I, from my standpoint, I didn't want to take that role away from him, and claim that. I mean, you guys know me well enough. I have no problem speaking in public. But in that situation, I got to be the first to admit that I would absolutely choke up and not be able to say anything. I'd be the first one to cry. Maybe then the whole room would probably lose it, and I don't want to do that. But I mean, when it comes to these traditions, it goes into all that stuff. Everything, like I said earlier, everything changes. When your grandfather passed, Nate, this will be the first one, first Thanksgiving.
But
that's okay.
But my thing is
that's okay. I want everyone to know that's okay.
Yeah.
I'll need to text, my mother, because my mother will be there. Because the problem is I got one Thanksgiving at 2:00 in Findlay, another at 4:00 in Findlay, and then my family's down here in Columbus at 6. Like, physically, unless there was teleportation, I'm not going to be able to make it.
Right.
But like what Jake alluded to, the very least I can do is reach out to them and say something.
Yeah.
Text them and be like, hey.
Get on Wi-Fi with your phone or your tablet and do a video chat, man.
Yeah.
Embrace that technology that you can actually be there, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to bring that up?
Yeah. So
that's a great,
well, yeah, but
powerful statement.
Yeah. So it's Sheila's Facebook, but it's Bill, so Alicia's dad.
Okay.
But so he says, after 4 years, I still will not sit in my dad's recliner. That is his. So like that just comes back to the whole situation of the honoring, the symbolism, the just. I don't know, the realness of the whole situation. The tradition is, I think, where it truly lies, and I just think it's sad that it takes it's like, how many like great holidays do we have throughout the year, and every time people say the same stuff and yet nothing changes. So it's like the same reason or the same lesson here is still the same as it was 50 years ago. When you're thinking of someone, get in touch or do something, because there's a reason why you're thinking of them. It's not like it's not bullshit. But like with Bill, like Alicia's dad, he passed away, I believe, last year. Bill can correct me. Well, I'm
4 years.
After 4 years, so it's even that's
seems
how
like
long.
Yesterday. I know.
It seems like yesterday for me, and it's not even my immediate family. So that's why I'm going to theirs this year.
I love that.
You know what I mean? Because now they're showing, like Bill and Sheila have shown that they care for me, and they voice it. It's like most things where people don't communicate very well, and they don't let people know how they feel because of some stupid ass reason, because back in the day, showing emotion was considered weakness. And yet someone dies and I'm supposed to be, big chest, strong shoulders and everything like that.
Yeah, be there for other people, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, no, you just, I like it a lot when people actually show their emotions. That's why I like getting people drunk.
That's why at my father's wake I had a bottle of whiskey.
Yeah, but it shows.
Actually, someone brought me a bottle of whiskey.
Yeah.
Was it Jameson?
It was
Jameson.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things like when you care. I don't want to put a measurement on caring or whatever, but when other people care about you, I think that you have an obligation, and I think that all of your insecurities, all of your reason, all of your bullshit, goes out the window because you're not talking about yourself. It's not about you. It's about the rest of your family that care. I don't, and it only you can dictate or decide whether or not, because I know that there's situations within families that, are inexcusable or they break ties. And I'm not going to be the person to sit here and say, well, you should completely forgive them, because I think that some things are unforgivable. But I think that beyond that, for the most part, you have an obligation, and I think most people have good families that they have an obligation to see, be in contact with in any way that they can.
Yeah. There's two sides to this, right? I agree with that. Your side of it here, I'm going to bring it to an everyday thing. So a lot of people listen to the podcast that, you guys
kind of went on there it's been a while.
I love it.
No, that was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
No, it's great having you back on, and hopefully we can get you back on soon. When you talk about, like, no matter what, like, the person said or did, you know what I mean? Like you said about that between the holidays.
Well, we all have our breaking point. You know that.
You all have a breaking point.
I get that.
But it's one of those things, too. It's like I'm going to speak to the people that drink sometimes too much bourbon, right?
Us?
I'm saying there's a lot of people out there.
Nate's pointing at me.
And me.
I included myself in that.
Okay. I didn't see that. My bad.
I was going like this.
So
Go ahead.
when you take the alcohol out of it, right, and so someone's, again, bringing up, and I apologize to anyone that has a sweet Aunt Ethel, but if you bring up Aunt Ethel, and then, it's like at one point it was like, they don't like your spouse, or, like they tell you how to raise your kids at a holiday, you know what I mean? They're like, oh, if that was my kid, I'd do this. And it's like, well, it's not. You know what I mean? You have that conversation. Don't bring it to the next one. If she wants to say that again, just know it going in. Be the bigger person. Like it's don't let that ruin your day. It's just like any other day of the week, you know what I mean, where people are going to offend you or try to push your buttons. Don't allow it. It's just.
I have an Aunt Ethel.
Really?
Not Ethel, but yeah. Well, I'll stick to the.
There is an Aunt Ethel out there.
He's saying a metaphor. Like he has someone that resembles your aunt.
Yeah, I don't think that it's.
She really is an aunt.
It's fair. Don't zero it in if she's listening.
She's not. I don't give a shit.
Well, there you go. That's my point. Don't give a shit. Go in there. No, I'm saying don't give a shit.
Oh my God.
About what they say. Don't give a shit about what they say, because you know they're going to do it. This is what gets them off. This is what that gets them through their holiday, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, you don't apologize.
I'm laughing because it's like we're using like terms like sleep, as in, don't take something for granted in 21st century millennial terms, and then. And then we're using what you just said.
Which part?
Well, I had one of my brain farts again, so screw it. Oh, no, that's what it was. So just like
that's what gets them off.
Just screw it. Fuck it. Like, just don't care.
I'm just don't retaliate. Don't just, you know what I mean? Again, it's being the bigger person on any of that stuff.
I know. I know what you're saying.
Don't turn it into a fight, basically. Something like that. Don't turn it into an argument that becomes divisive.
Kill them with kindness. All this other stuff we talk about on this podcast is, kill them with kindness. It's, focus on the things that are important to you. There are more people in that room typically than that person. And sometimes, Nate, you were talking about the matriarch. Sometimes the matriarch or patriarch are that Aunt Ethel. Again, apologies to anyone has or any Aunt Ethels out there listening right now, but I'm using this as an example, is that sometimes with the strong family tradition, there are strong levels of judgment. None of these reasons are, in my opinion, strong enough to pass over a holiday.
No.
It's the realization that this is, for me, I'll say this for me, and anyone that can relate to it, that's fine. I have grown through the last several years, in my opinion, to a point that I haven't had to prepare the turkey dinner. You know what I mean? I don't have any kids. I'm not the one hosting. In fact, I offered to bring something to the Thanksgiving tomorrow, and my brother's mother-in-law, Donna, who's sweet, she's a sweetheart. She emailed me back instead of like texting me back, and emailed me back, and it's like, yesterday, don't worry, we have everything covered. Well, there's part of me that I feel a little bit guilty to that. You know what I mean? I want to bring something, so I'm still going to bring wine and whiskey.
Good.
The Steve Crane special.
And I had a great time. I'll share this with everyone just as a lighter note, is that I had my first Thanksgiving dinner on Sunday over at Liz's dad's place, as I shared earlier. And it was great, but it's different experience for me because Liz's dad basically fed all of us, right? We all, like, Liz made a potato dish. Everyone brought something, you know what I mean? But we did steaks, actually.
Nice. That's the kind of family
That's
I want
cool.
to be a part of.
Steaks. I had leftover steak tonight.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Steak with a side of chicken breast. And it fed me all the alcohol.
The reservation, man.
Fed me all the alcohol. First it was wine. I brought over E.H. Taylor small batch. Drank some of that with her dad and her stepdad.
That's cool.
And then the Cuban rum came out. And then I hadn't heard of his favorite gin. So he asked me if he could make me a gin and tonic.
Oh, good Lord.
So I had a couple of those. And
Liz drove home.
No, actually. Turns out, no. Liz's stepmom, who wanted to drive my car at some point, took the opportunity to drive us home. Drove me home in my car. Liz drove with her dad, and then her dad drove her stepmom back to their house.
In what car?
And so they drove their car.
Oh, okay.
Janny drove my car.
Shit wasn't adding up there.
It didn't add up to me that night either.
I bet. I bet 2 + 2 was 5.
We had a great time, and Liz's dad's like, I feel bad because I feel like I got Steve too drunk. And she's like, no, he's fine. I was like, I wasn't fine.
Jeez.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yeah. Wow.
The only thing missing was wild turkey.
Well, you got it tonight.
Gotcha.
All right, guys. Closing remarks.
Nate.
Yeah, I'll start.
Because I have no idea what I'm going to say.
I'll try and give you some time.
Okay, thank you.
And
say something.
Thanks, Ray Cheshire, for finally tuning in right now. Morning.
He's been tuning in for a little bit. He said morning finally.
Yeah. Glad to have you on there in Vietnam.
Do they have Asian Santas?
Yes.
Just please.
All right.
I need to know.
Yeah. Give us your answer on the comments section, so that way you can put Jake's mind at ease.
It's good having Jake back on. Side note.
So for my closing remarks,
we're not talking about Hitler.
Oh.
And you brought it up, Nate. Go ahead.
God damn. Hey. So for my closing remarks, to get back to, kind of what happened to Thanksgiving, like why do we overlook Thanksgiving, or how do we not overlook Thanksgiving? Like, what do we have to do to enjoy Thanksgiving the way it is? I think part of that is kind of thinking back to the original meaning of Thanksgiving and what Abraham Lincoln said. Like, to remember, you don't necessarily have to think about all the people who you've lost during the year, but to remember what you have, to remember who you have, who you still have, and live in the moment and enjoy the holiday for what it is. It's a time to get together with family and give thanks for what you have, for the family that you have. As dysfunctional as it may be, as much as you may not get along with your family or your in-laws, like, it's still a family. It's still people that would help you out if shit hit the fan. Like, it's still people that care about you. Whether they agree with you on things or not, they're still people that care about you. They're still part of your family. So don't overlook that, because there's going to come a time where those people that you have, or those things that you have, you may not have them anymore.
Very true.
So remember that. Don't get caught up in kind of with this season, like I mentioned earlier, the consumerism. There's nothing wrong with buying gifts for people, for anticipating gifts from people. There might be certain mindsets that are better than others when it comes to that, but don't overlook what you have right in front of you. It's almost like what you guys talk about a lot of times in the past with the hand in the face. Like there, you have this. Quit focusing on all this other crap. Like, enjoy what you have.
You want me to go?
I like that.
Are you going?
I'm ready.
Go after.
I'm cool. So for me, I'll use my experience as an example. So for me, starting a new job, do I want to move away 3 hours? No, obviously not, because most of my family's here in Ohio. The grandmother that keeps, pretty much my mom's family together is here in Ohio. Most of my dad's family is here in Ohio. So it's kind of what's the word? Bliss, or bliss? Not ignorant bliss.
Which part?
It doesn't matter. Anyways,
take it for granted.
No, not taking for granted. It's bittersweet. That's what I was looking for.
No, I get that.
It's like bittersweet because at the end of the day, I'm going to kind of contradict myself from what I said earlier. At the end of the day, you do have an obligation to family, but you have an obligation to yourself when you see an opportunity to grow yourself. So, and in my example, like I said, do I want to move 3 hours away? No, but it is an amazing opportunity that I'm blessed to be granted with to do something that I will truly love.
I think it alludes to something Steve's been harping on the last couple of weeks. Don't forget to take care of yourself.
Right.
Like, this is a great opportunity for you.
Right.
And for your household.
Yeah.
This is a great opportunity for you and Alicia.
Yeah. Right. But what I will say to add to that is that I am going to make an I will make an effort to be back here for holidays. So that's it starts with myself, but you still have an obligation that's bigger than yourself. Like I have, even like I said earlier, I'm the only cousin or grandchild that has came to every holiday and has stayed the entire time. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I get that.
Makes total sense.
So there's a slight, I am going to be that person where I do have a slight judgment where I make an effort for my family. So why do the other cousins not? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. I get it.
And
it happens all the time.
Yeah. And whether the ties have been split because of one thing another person said, it's still bigger than yourself, because you're not just affecting that person that you don't want to see, you're affecting the rest of the family that wants to see you. So you still have an obligation to the family. It doesn't matter about the bullshit that grandma said about how you should raise your kids. It doesn't matter, because maybe your brother wants to see you, or maybe your uncle wants to see you.
Yeah.
You have an obligation that's bigger than yourself. So I think that's my biggest thing when it's not just Thanksgiving, it's Christmas. It's, things where I'm not spending, a whole day where I'm going to Alicia's parents and my parents on St. Patrick's Day. No, I'm talking about Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, stuff like that.
holidays that are important to your family.
Correct. Yeah. More specific, yes. So, and when we talk about Easter, I make a point for that to be important because Anthony, the cousin that passed, that was his favorite holiday. So that's one of those things where I think that there's a bigger. I guess my biggest thing is the way that I look at things is the family is bigger than myself. There's obligations that are bigger than myself, and regardless of how I feel about those things, there's a right way and a wrong way, and there's an obligation and a responsibility to be with your family in some form or fashion.
Yeah. And now you have to go through that, like as far as 3 hours away is better than a plane flight.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I think this is a great scenario for you that this will be a test.
It will be a test, but it's funny because the more that we get closer to moving, and even after 5 years, the closer I feel to Alicia.
I love it.
The closer I feel to Alicia's parents. And it's like we're moving twice as far away as we were because we actually, live closer to my parents now, and we live farther away from her parents. But it's like we'll spend a weekend and go and, spend Saturday with her parents.
That's right.
So I don't know. Family is important to me because I was an only child.
Right.
So even
that's all you had.
Yeah. So, I had football, school, and family, and the girl I was dating.
Yeah.
That at the time.
Absolutely.
So that's a big impact on my life. So I'm not saying that that's like most things I say on this podcast. And it's glad to be back. I'm glad to be back. Thank you for having me. But
chair is always yours.
But I think for me, that's the most important thing because that's all I had, and I'm not going to take it for granted no matter how old I get. So, it's kind of like who texts their grandma? You know what I mean?
Right.
And I like the fact that the older I get, my grandmother, we actually text each other, and guess what? I actually freaking respond.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I still say thank you when, my dad's dad just passed a few months ago, and when he would send money, my parents made sure that I called him. Did I want to do it? No, because it was awkward because I hadn't seen him in forever, right?
That's a new thank you note, right?
Yeah, but I still called him. I still talked to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to spend a half hour explaining what's happened in my life for the last 4 hours.
Calling is better than a thank you note back in the day.
Yeah.
You actually had a conversation with someone.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's so many avenues to communicate, and we completely just negate them because it's either considered negative with social media or some other kind of bullshit excuse.
Absolutely.
And I'm actually really excited tomorrow, not just because of food, but because it's been a long time since I've had Thanksgiving with Alicia's parents. So it's one of those things where, the family builds, the people build, and yes, you have a lot more people and you have a lot more obligations, but I think that should be used as a positive, not a negative.
Well, I think that, obviously Ethel might be good on electronics, Jake.
Ethel's good on electronics.
My grandmother, I don't think she texts. My other grandmother never even had a cell phone, I don't think.
Well, even if she doesn't, call the freaking house phone.
No, but so part of the stress that goes into it, and I think, Jake, you're a prime example right now, is that you have something good to say at the holiday. You got a lot going on, right? So,
well, and
so
you
that's
know
part
how
of the
negative
stress.
I've been.
Right.
But I was still the same way when it came to holidays. You know what I mean?
Because you were that what I was talking about earlier about you were that family or whatever, that kid that was complaining about being there, and then as soon as you show up, it's like, I'm here. Let's celebrate Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but now you have something to talk about, and that might be part of the stress for several people, a lot of people that they go there and that's something that, going back to what Avi just brought back up, is, and Ethel says, like, oh, so you still, for me, right? You're still just working at the cigar shop? Yep. Yep. No, I really like it. So what are you doing next? You know, it's those type of comments, you know what I mean, that go through it. Or it's like, oh, are you dating that girl still? Not for me. I have not heard that. But I mean, like, I know, like, relationships always, like, you still dating that same girl? Like, yeah, Aunt Ethel, I'm still dating that same girl. How's that working out? It's going well. Great. She's literally waiting for that next holiday for you to say that it didn't work out. And like, yeah, we never liked her. You know what I mean? Like, I think everyone like sees that. Like, everyone knows that type of thing.
But understand understand the point of the conversation, though. The point of the conversation isn't about you.
Agreed.
That's the crazy part.
I agree completely.
So
absolutely,
I'm not saying to you, but I'm saying to like listeners and viewers, the point of the conversation,
don't get defensive,
is so that they. That's hard. Well, yes, the lesson is don't get defensive, but the point of the conversation is so that they live vicariously through you.
Yeah, my grandmother was always one of those that every time I saw her would go, "You got a girlfriend?"
Right.
I'm like, no, I don't. Sorry. And then finally, once I did and got married, she stopped asking that question.
Yeah.
She didn't have to worry about that anymore.
All right. Before I get into my closing remarks, briefly, I do want to thank, so for those of you who listen to part 2 of the audio, those of you that are on the live video or watching the YouTube video, I want to thank our sponsors. So, again, Tinderbox at Easton, thank you for the New World. Oscuro, as it's called now, by AJ Fernandez.
Are they going to have to put a secondary band on this like they did with the Cameroon or Connecticut?
No, they're not doing that. It's
okay.
Just
thank God.
New World by AJ Fernandez. 15% off Tinderbox at Easton.
I'm still smoking it.
Yeah.
You've put it down a few times.
I have put it down. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not as familiar with the podcast anymore already, where you're talking and smoking at the same time as you pick up your microphone again and set the cigar down.
Yeah, I mean, you changed it on me. So
thank you, Tinderbox at Easton, for the New World. 15% off at Tinderbox at Easton. If you guys want to call in, email, or contact us through the podcast, we will do 15% off any purchase of the Robusto. We also carry the Toro Gordo. Also, Altadis USA, for those of you, Nate, you're smoking the Montecristo White Series.
Yes, I am. One of my top 3 milder cigars.
And you're actually one that will admit it.
Yes. Like
That's it.
Yeah.
Stop talking.
Okay. No, the point is there. Also, BS Cigar Company, thank you. I'm smoking a silver right now because I gave the Montecristo White Series to the studio audience, so I hope they're enjoying that, as always.
What's the S in BS?
Steve.
Yay.
So, anyways, thank you to all our sponsors. Thank you for everyone listening out there. I know people tune in at different times. Thank you for tuning in the night before Thanksgiving. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the podcast and also enjoying your night, and I wish you all a happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
The topic part of it, closing remarks, don't sleep on Thanksgiving. I found myself thinking about the topic as we were kicking it back and forth, and we've talked about a lot of this, and I think about, like, why do people sleep on Thanksgiving? And we've hit a lot of topics or a lot of points tonight, in my opinion, that are very valid. I think that it's different for everyone. But when I think about Thanksgiving, it's something that people forget about. If you have a good Thanksgiving tradition, there's something there that other things get in the way. There are plenty of people that I talked to recently that going into the Thanksgiving holiday, it's a short, not everyone has the whole weekend off. Some people have the long weekend. But when it comes down to it, it's the same people that complain about being at work too much. They complain about the fact that, well, if I didn't have this holiday, I wouldn't have to be with my family, and I have a lot of stuff I can get done. but what they sometimes when I think about Thanksgiving, I think about, you know, going over to my mom's house, going over to my grandma's house, and you walk in, and the appetizers are out there. If you have the opportunity to have that, like Friendsgiving is a big thing right now. It has been for the last several years, and I think that's the resurgence of some of these holidays that are lost on some people. But when you walk into that house, and I don't know anyone out there listening it has this same type of thing, but you smell the turkey, you know. For me, you know, you smell the stuffing, you smell the au gratin potatoes. You know, you at this point, if you're older, you walk into your childhood home or your childhood grandmother's home or grandfather's home, and you smell all the smells. And they say that smell is the most powerful sense that you have to memories. And this is a holiday that is, yes, nowadays it's not based on the harvest. It's not based on, you know, a lot of these traditions of years past. It has become more secular. It's become something where, and it wasn't religious before, I guess, but it's something that there's a lot of memories there as a kid. And when you smell those smells and you see those faces, and even if it's that Aunt Ethel that you know she's just like cocked and loaded, you know what I mean? And she's ready to just unload on you. It's like, you know, when are you getting married? You know, or is your kid still a problem? Whatever she's going to say to you, you know what I mean? Oh, you still haven't lost that weight, I see.
Oh,
you know,
God,
whatever it is.
Well, think about how many times I'm going to have to tell the story about my new job tomorrow.
And you're going to love every moment of it. You should.
Yeah.
You have something to talk about.
But yeah.
But when you walk into these things, that's where the tradition comes in. And I think Thanksgiving holds its own with every other holiday, including Christmas. And if you think Christmas is something that is going to trump the Thanksgiving part of it, this is you have a tree, you have lights, you have gifts, you have whatever your Santa, Jesus, whatever it is, countless things that make it such a impactful holiday. Take the time to remember the smells. If it really, really, really bothers you that no one really likes this, including yourself, bring some flowers to your grandma. You know, bring some small gifts. Don't blow your budget. Think about the things that make other holidays like that special to you. And I think you can actually make Thanksgiving a holiday on its own that once again holds true to you and your family, whether it be your parents, your aunts, your uncles, your grandparents, or whatever, or if you have kids on your own, you're starting a new tradition, is enjoy the month of November again, and don't rush it, because it's same thing that everyone talks about with Thanksgiving being a segue to Christmas. Christmas is a segue to New Year's. You know, as soon as Christmas is over, you're returning gifts that you didn't like. The toys are done after 15 minutes because they're done with them, and you just spent $100 on something that they're never going to use again after 15 minutes. You know what I mean? You put it together and all that stuff. Thanksgiving is something that you can actually build upon that is based on getting together. There's literally nothing else about Thanksgiving for families and friends. Again, Friendsgiving, Thanksgiving, whatever it is, whatever your traditions are, or start your own. This is something that you can create those new smells, those new memories, the new conversations, the new traditions. I hate board games. I'm not a board game guy. But
card games?
Maybe.
Like euchre? You play euchre?
I'll play euchre.
I love euchre. I just wish I had more people to play with.
And for those
Get your mind out of the gutter.
And if those of you that are listening that enjoy cigars and whiskey, and this is something that you can enjoy a day, I've done that. I've done that. You know, at family get-togethers, it's something that someone in the family, maybe one person, like literally tomorrow, my brother's father-in-law will want to have a glass of bourbon. And so I'm going to bring something I don't think he's had before, and he's probably going to have Elijah Craig because he likes that, and he likes a couple cigars. But if the weather's nice enough, he and I will probably go out there. This is an extended family. This is a new tradition at family get-togethers that we are recreating. And so my niece and nephew at this impressionable age, they know this is what happens at family get-togethers. When the weather's nice, we throw the football, we do this, we do that. You go into it, and you like I said, I mean, I'll go back to this, is that Thanksgiving is and I know it sounds corny, but it's a holiday of amazing smells.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I did not have this planned, but as I'm listening to this conversation, this is one thing that stands out to me, is that it's something that will build upon itself if you put the effort in and you don't rush it, and you enjoy the fact that you hopefully have the day off. And if you don't, you have some sort of tradition that you can travel all over the state, all over the region. You can fly somewhere and you can do something else. But I got to be honest, this is a holiday that make the most of it, just like anything else in life.
Right.
Take the opportunity to enjoy those smells, enjoy the people around you, and even if you have that Aunt Ethel out there, is try to convert her. You know what I mean?
To what?
Get her a gift. Bring her flowers.
Oh. Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Good to see you.
It is good to see her, yeah. I'm not getting her a gift, sorry.
Buy her flowers. And with that, I'll say thank you, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. I enjoyed our turkey dinner tonight. Nate, thanks for picking up a bottle of the Wild Turkey Rare Breed, barrel proof.
You're
Yes,
welcome.
thank
Thanks for filling your propane tank.
Yes.
It's so weird with that thing on while we're doing this
It's
podcast.
so funny because I'm in a T-shirt and you're still bundled up in your Packard.
Well, I'm not going to take it off in the middle of the podcast.
Might be some ladies out there listening.
Yeah, I'm taking, sorry.
I was
No, but I want to say,
I'll let that go.
Yeah. Congratulations, Jake, on the new venture.
Thanks.
We hope to have you back. Thank you so much for being a part of the podcast, as always.
Yeah.
Bourbon and BS podcast community page. We appreciate all you guys getting a part of that and enjoying that. I'm loving the fact that it's growing, 400 plus members strong.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I'm interested to see where it's at in a year from now. So
it's great seeing all the conversation that's developed on that page since you started it. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, the community is strong out there. So if you guys are listening in, share the page, share the Bourbon and BS podcast page on Facebook, Instagram. We also are on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Sean, what was it? Luminary? Yes. Something like that, Luminary. We're on any other Overcast as well. YouTube, we're loading the videos up too. So thank you guys very much. Jake, thank you for being back.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Hope to see you guys in Indy sometime.
Yep. This is not the last time I think we'll see you on the podcast, in my opinion.
No, I mean, it's 3 hours, whatever. I like driving.
Nate, thanks again, as always, for pulling double duty.
I can't wait till we get some stuff updated to where I don't have to unplug.
We'll get there.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Also,
it's a journey,
guys.
It's a journey.
We appreciate everyone donating bottles of whiskey. We've got about, I think, 5 or 6 bottles that are coming up.
Yeah, we do.
The community is getting stronger. I appreciate that.
We had
It
another
helps
one
us out.
donated last night.
Yeah, we did. Jody Jacks with
absolutely.
the Texas whiskey, which I'm looking forward to trying.
What, Balcones?
No, it's TX.
Yeah.
So I'll show you the bottle. I've
right.
never had it.
All right.
Yeah.
And then also we have a Patreon page that we're working on getting some gifts for you for doing monthly donations. As small as $5, we're going to get some tiers out there. So share that, everything else. And if you guys want to contribute to try to make it easier on us to keep up the production level and keep doing this, Patreon, I don't know, / Bourbon and BS podcast. It's on all the links and everything else. So we've got a handful of patrons already, and we appreciate all you guys. We're also going to do, coming up, spoiler alert, we're going to do some exclusive giveaways to Patreon patrons coming up. So we're looking forward to that. Other than that, guys, happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving.
Cheers to the turkey.
Glad to be here.
Enjoy your families and friends and everything else. Happy Whiskey Wednesday. We will see you next week.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Turn it off.